99-cent rental.
This is 99 Cent Rental. I'm your host, Bryan White, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Dave White. Hey, Dave, how you doing over there?
Well, positively Gutenbergian. Thank you for asking. I'm all right. We went to dinner earlier today. Oh. It's a new restaurant just down the road a piece. And a bit of a neighborhood joint. It's kind of elevated, like a little fancy-ish.
Okay.
We used to have a place when we lived in Winter Hill that was like a place you'd go for like cheeseburgers and beer.
I like those kinds of places.
And we liked that. And then like we moved away from there and we found this new place. It's a little similar, but we're looking over the bill. Not only did they charge me for a rosé, like I would drink a rosé.
Who do they think you are?
Seriously, you try to pull a fast one on me?
Do you look like the sort of person who would drink a rosé?
No. But I'm looking over the bill, and there is something on there called a kitchen appreciation fee. Now, look, I think it's fair to say we all know I can be a little bit rigid sometimes and maybe a little bit reactionary, but I find this to be offensive.
Yeah, I worked in the kitchen for a little while, and I can tell you that the whole reason that you tip your wait staff is because they make dog shit for money.
Right. I only agree to tip the wait people because that's the social contract, because their boss is a scumbag.
Yeah.
I resent that too, but I don't resent the wait staff or the person providing me the service. I am very happy to tip somebody if they are going above and beyond. And I do it anyway, just because like a 20% just doesn't matter, of course, because that is the world we live in, no matter how much I think it's unfair and ridiculous.
So this is because still tipping is optional, which is,
this was not.
I was gonna say the whole thing is fucking nonsense. Pay fucking wait staff for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But
Allow me to pay them extra if I think they have done a job deserving of extra, but I'm not just there to make up the difference because you're a fucking dirtbag.
Yeah, but a required kitchen appreciation staff, because who's to say that the kitchen staff even knows that that's a thing?
Right. And you just snuck this shit into the check. And now it was 3%. That's not a lot of money.
No. But
that's not the point.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what the fuck is that?
Because they're paid a reasonable hourly wage,
I would assume so. I would hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a Cambridge restaurant. It's, a little upscale-ish. Not really, but like middle of the road.
You East Coast elites.
Yeah, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like, what is that? You didn't even ask me if I wanted to. You just put that in there.
Yeah.
Like, just pay them 3% more then, if that's the case, or raise your prices.
Right. The fuck?
Yeah, that's some bullshit.
So what are you drinking over there?
Well, this is nonconformist.
Okay, you break out the private stock?
It is. I couldn't remember whether this is fancy or not. It's been in there for a while. This is a Farmstead India Pale Ale brewed with bee pollen, quince, pine pollen, and lemon myrtle, aged in oak barrels.
Sounds intense.
Yeah, it probably could be.
Yeah. I have cracked a cool, refreshing cheer wine over here.
You're not even ashamed of it.
The glass bottle. First of all, don't you fucking dare malign my precious cheer wine.
You walked me into it. That's how proud of it you were.
You fell for it yet again. But motherfucker, I have watched this movie twice in 2 days, and I spent the rest of the week researching nuclear weapons. This is self-care.
Well, let me tell you something. That is a fine beer.
Yeah.
That is an extremely fine beer.
It sounds intense. This, however, is not here. It's so fucking good. It's so good. Cheer wine.
That's gross.
Sponsor us, you guys. What the hell?
You tried.
Sponsor us. I've tried twice. Sponsor us, you cowards.
Who makes cheer wine?
Cheer wine.
They're just out there floating around on their own. They're like an indie soda maker. That's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Options.
It's like Moxie. I don't think Moxie's actually owned by anybody.
Well, who would want to take ownership of that?
I know.
America's oldest soda tastes like it too.
What if we carbonated a Christmas tree?
Oh God.
Oh boy, have we got one for you guys tonight. Oh yeah, it is hard to explain to someone who never had the experience what a trip to the video store was like back in the day, or occasionally watching the made-for-TV movie.
Oh Oh, yes.
Of the week. The shelves were choked with absolutely bizarre crap made on tiny budgets and completely divorced from any recognizable reality. And it was the best, and we intend to talk about every one of them. Just before we get into it, here's a little housekeeping. If you want to keep up with us between episodes, you can also find us on Instagram at Bring Me the Axe Pod. Dave's over there at That Queer Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a follow. Do us a solid and offset all these goddamn bots who are following us.
Geez.
Yeah. Yeah, you got the morbid treatment recently.
Yeah, I did. But you know what? It's a good thing. We're moving on to bigger and better things, and so let's all celebrate that.
Yeah. And if you don't know, we got another show called Bring Me the Axe. Our latest episode covering Night of the Comet is out now.
Love it.
Love it. It's a good episode. We had a lot of fun. Dave made me a believer in a movie that I was otherwise rather ambivalent about.
That's right.
Yeah, you can hear me hear my opinion transform in real time. Yeah, that's out now.
It'd be more interesting if they could hear you transform.
I sound like Optimus Prime when I transform.
Like into a werewolf.
Yeah, that's out now. We'll be back next week with a look at the fucking British riff on the day after Threads, a somehow vastly more horrifying affair than tonight's movie.
Yeah, it is real hard.
That is, yeah. When we were watching this in the Discord the other night, like the topic of Threads came up, and it was like somehow, and it's just the pure Britishness of that movie. Threads goes even harder than this one does.
It's intentional, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay. Yep. You can also contact us directly at 99centrentalpod@gmail.com with any questions, comments, or suggestions. Do let us know if there's a cheesy movie that you would love and would like to hear us give it the business.
Yeah, listen, we're closing in on the end of this year. I have thought very little about the schedule for next year, other than to say it is going to have Chopping Mall on it.
Yeah.
That's all I got. So get them in there, kids.
We got 52 movies to populate.
Mm-hmm.
Plus bonuses. And
plus however many Fridays is the 13th.
Friday is the 13th. If you'd like to support us on Patreon, you can look us up over at patreon.com/bringmetheaxepod. There's a couple of tiers you can join there. Subscribers at the $5 a month tier can look forward to our bi-weekly X-Files rewatch pod. Do you think I'm spooky? Mm-hmm. We are rounding that corner. We're almost done with season 1.
We do. I was doing assets for the next couple months today, and I started in on season 2. It's coming up.
Yeah, we've got a fucking Christ. We've got a real rough one to get past, and then we get the Erlenmeyer flask, which is a really, really great episode.
Yeah, the next one's it's like the other sister of X-Files episodes. You know, if you know, you know. All right.
Fucking God. Yep. There's also our monthly Bring Me the Axe Millennium Edition, which is a bonus episode in which we explore a modern horror movie. Our latest episode just dropped on Friday. We're looking at 2008's Pontypool.
Oh, yeah, I like that movie.
Yeah, a movie that it does us dirty in the end.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but otherwise, pretty good. Yep. There's also my bi-weekly DJ show, Radio Free Haddonfield. In the weeks when Do You Think I'm Spooky is off, you can expect a surprising mixtape of everything from rock to disco to punk over there. The latest episode is all about punk rock from 1977, the high water mark of the first wave.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good one. Yep. And all Patreon subscribers, even the free tier, get access to our Discord server. Paying members get access to additional channels, voice and video chat, and the watch parties option. You can, come on in on a Friday night, watch horror movies with us. This Friday, last Friday's watch was somber and solemn. We had a little bit of chatter, and then the bombs dropped, and it was fucking silence all the way to the end.
Yeah, well, then buckle up, because Threads goes for the throat.
Threads is, whoo boy. England, what the hell, you guys? Yep. So yeah, come on in, watch fucking endure Threads with us. Mm-hmm. Once again, that's patreon.com/bringmetheaxepod.
But wait, just please give us your money.
Shower us with cash.
Maybe it doesn't sound like it. We work pretty hard at this. One of us maybe more than the other, but
we contribute. We contribute equally.
Yeah, one of us does a lot of work, and the other one's real sassy. So apply that as you will.
Yeah. And lastly, if you like what you hear, you can subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. We're also on YouTube. Search us by name and subscribe if you prefer to consume your podcast that way. And you'd be doing us a favor by leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So get to it.
Yeah.
Let's see that number go up. Just gotta, it's easy. Just gotta search us. Spotify makes it a little harder, but it goes a long way. And it makes me feel good.
It does. It does. I was talking to someone yesterday. I was talking to Nick, actually, our brother-in-law, who was saying he really appreciates the the first half. So he enjoys all of Do You Think I'm Spooky, but his favorite part is the first half. And I said, well, thank you, because I had to contribute something to the show. So that's what I bring to the table.
That's awesome. Yeah, and if you listen on YouTube, do us a favor, give the episode a like, leave a comment. We love hearing from you guys. Just want to get that all out of the way right at the top of the show, because here we go.
Get bombs bursting in air.
Get your Prozac out.
There was a great earthquake. The sun became black as sackcloth, and a third of the earth was burnt up.
You call us provocative? When your Americans have 260,000 soldiers and 7,000 nuclear weapons poised on the other side of our border.
A third of the trees and all the green grass. And then from the smoke came locusts on the earth with the power of scorpions.
It's not gonna happen. People are crazy, but not that crazy.
War never changes.
Yeah, I mean, how do you know it's a homemade trailer? Well, because they stuck in a line from Fallout. That's how you know. I will say though,
and there's a hashtag at the end also. There's real. This was a made-for-TV movie. There's no real trailer for this thing.
That is actually, I think, a very compelling trailer. If I saw that, I'd be like, "Fuck yeah, I want to watch that movie."
Oh yeah, yeah. What made you pick this?
I don't
you picked
know.
this and the next one and the one after that, and I'm fine with that. We're going on a real made-for-TV journey in the next couple of episodes.
Now, yeah, for those who don't know, I am a very big fan of made-for-TV movies, mostly of the paranormal, supernatural, and disaster films. I love disaster movies quite a lot, and this sort of fits the bill. I don't know why I chose this. I honestly can't remember. I think, as you know, a lot of the reasons I choose movies is because somebody mentioned it to me and I was like, oh yeah, I love that movie. That's all it takes. That's all it takes to get me excited about something. And then I guess I stuck these two in there back to back. I thought there'd be an interesting comparison.
They are an interesting comparison because the next one, I mean, not just the fact that Threads is the harder of the two movies. Threads is almost like they took this story and adapted it to Sheffield, England instead, because there are a tremendous number of story similarities.
It's funny you should say that, because that's essentially what happened. Threads is a direct response to this movie, because the guy who directed Threads saw this film when it was on TV and he was like, fuck you, that's what it would really be like. It would be nothing like that. Here's what it would really be like.
Oh, obviously he didn't watch all the way to the end where the fucking title card says, "Oh, by the way, the movie you just watched is like easy mode nuclear holocaust."
Yeah, but he was like, if you're going to show people this, if you're going to freak people out, because as you will all find out momentarily, this movie was extremely divisive and controversial, but he was like, if you're really going to do it, then you really need to actually go for it and show people what it would really be like. If that's your intention with this movie, then fucking do it and don't be such a coward about it. And so he was like, I'll show you what it would really look like. And he did. And that movie is grimy and fucking grisly.
Yeah, I'm going to save my thoughts on Threads for that episode, because that's a movie that I find it... Like it is not the right it's not the right description. It's not the right word.
It's more entertaining. It's more entertaining than this one is. This movie is very slow.
This is very easy. As much as inflammatory and as devastating as it was when it was broadcast, it's still very much a movie, and it feels like a movie. Threads,
and that was actually what people kind of had a problem with that, because it was like, you either want to make a political statement or you want to make a movie, but you can't really go hard at both. And so that's why a lot of people were like, this is just real soft and kind of not that compelling or interesting. And I mean, it's fine. It's an okay movie. It feels like a kind of a weaker. To me, this movie feels like a weaker disaster
I'll say this:
movie.
like when we were talking before we hit record, I was kind of shocked that you're kind of tepid on this, but I'm also I like its message. I think that the way that it depicts the war is pretty fucking dire, and my notes for this episode are also pretty dire, but I think the movie's just okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit slow. It kind of plays out like a middle of the road disaster movie. It takes a long time to get going. It gets a little caught up in itself far too often, and it is extremely American.
Yeah.
As
but
much as it is,
but it was made for an American audience at a time when the one of the two powers that was going to end the world was fucking America. So
right. I mean, I will say what I mean by that, not just that it is American, obviously it's made for American television, but it's American in its presentation in that it is very like, it obviously is politically to the left. It is trying to make a point about nuclear proliferation. Jesus.
You did it.
And I get all of that, but at the same time, there is an American romanticism, an almost sort of Western genre film.
It's because it's set in Kansas City. It's very, small town country music.
Yeah, and it's very like there's a lot of like sweeping romantic shots of the plains. It's a ton of white people getting very upset.
That's all there is in Kansas.
I doubt that very much. In Lawrence, Kansas is a pretty big city. There's
actually
Kansas
no, they
City.
specifically chose Lawrence, Kansas because it had a bit of diversity to it.
Yes,
you
it
don't
was
really
also
see
dead
it.
center of America.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just sort of a middle of the road movie. I think the story behind it is far more interesting.
Yeah. But at the same time, let's see. I was 8 when this came out, and I've talked since. Like I've been really sort of like talking this one out because it's the thematic, the themes, the subject matter are so fucking heavy that it has been really bumming me out and getting kind of under my skin. And so a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, no, I watched that when it came out." Like one of our listeners, Stacy, she was in the Discord watching. She was like, "Yeah, I remember when this came out. I watched it." I did not. I was 8, I think, when it came out, and Mom and Dad deliberately kept me in the dark on this one, which makes a lot of sense.
I feel like Mom kept you in the dark on that one. Yeah. I feel like Dad would have been like, "Watch whatever the fuck you want. I don't care."
Yeah, no, but what I do remember is the next day when I went to school, there was they brought all of us into the little gymnasium. It was a very little school. And they brought us to the gym and they sat us down and they were like, "Okay, so there was a movie on last night and we'd like, show hands who watched it." And like a bunch of hands went up and they're like, "Okay, so we're going to talk about this. And if you have any thoughts that you'd like to express, you can come up and we have people who will talk to you and listen." And I was like, "What the fuck are they talking about?"
And everyone in the room raised their hands and said, "Are the Russians going to kill us?" And nobody said, "No, but the Republicans are."
After, oh boy, we'll talk about the Republican response to this movie.
I have
what I do remember
quotes.
is for the next couple of months, all any of the kids talked about was nuclear war. And yeah, and that's when I was like, "The fuck is that? Like the Mad Max stuff?" I mean, obviously I'm not swearing like that because I'm 8 years old. That's a couple of years.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
What bullshit have you been watching?
Yeah. And so,
as you say to your second grade classmates.
Right. But what I did see was the one PBS broadcast of Threads when that came out. So that was that was 2 years later. So I was probably 9 or 10 when I saw that. And that gave me nightmares.
Yeah, Threads is, as much as we are talking it up, Threads is a decidedly darker vision that is probably more realistic than this is at all, because Threads is not romantic at all. It is not sentimental. It is very hard. It is like if someone made Fallout the movie, but without any of the whimsy.
Took all the sense of humor away from it.
Mm-hmm. And it's just like people killing each other for a can of tuna, for an irradiated can of tuna.
But it is interesting to me that this period in American history has been kind of pushed to the rear and kind of forgotten about.
it was a very hysterical time. I will say, everyone, this has been hinted at many times over the years. They are about to find out what a big fan you are of Cold War America.
Oh yeah. Well, I've hinted at it in the past. This is a subject that, and again, I spent the last week thinking about this a lot, and I do think that this was an extremely traumatic period to live through as a small child who was aware of World War III, the potential for it, and what those weapons could do, and it sort of lives inside of me in a way that I have. It's not a morbid fascination in the same way that I sort of like. I'm interested in like serial killers and stuff like that. Like this is something that I look at because I'm trying to understand it still as an adult. And so, yeah. And so I have this bizarre, cause I am not a big fan of American history. I don't give a fuck about that shit, but like,
easy. Some of us spent lots of money and many years pursuing such a subject.
That was your mistake. No, but like World War II and Cold War history is something that just fucking captivates me. And yeah, you're gonna get a taste of it. I had a draft of this script that was super fucking long, and at one time we had a guest who was going to join us for this one, and I was like, I have got to pare this down to be way more concise, or people are gonna listen to this episode for about 10 minutes and be like, aren't you supposed to be talking about a movie? So.
Well, hopefully you revived that script. I'll tell you what. Here, I think the reason I was more enthusiastic about doing this than I maybe otherwise would have been after watching it is I do think that as films go, I mean, obviously movies are always a representation of whatever's in the zeitgeist, but this is a very particular era, and to have grown up in this era, especially because it is one that is often, very often filtered through nostalgia, and it is looked upon with a sort of idealizing sensibility that in a lot of ways, like, yes, the 80s were kind of like fun and wacky, and there was a lot of kind of goofiness and big hair and big clothes and colorful shit. And there was also a lot of drab earth tones, everybody. But also there was this lingering leftover fear that really got played up by the Republicans. We will get into that a lot because it is extremely political. It's extremely politicized as well. That a lot of this stuff that we're going to talk about in this, it wasn't real in a sense that it was probably going to happen. It was real in that they convinced people that it was going to happen or very likely could happen. And that is what shaped our entire generation, was this fear that was never that real. It wasn't like the Cuban Missile Crisis.
I am going to run you through. So this movie comes out in 1983. We'll do the specifics in a second, but through pure coincidence, a number of things happened that brought us closer to nuclear war than even the Cuban Missile Crisis, which was a legit DEFCON 1 situation.
Yes. Now here's where I'm at with it, because I didn't come away feeling depressed. It did make me think a lot about, because I spent a lot of time digging into not just the critical response, because surprisingly there isn't much of a critical response to, because it is a TV movie.
Yeah.
But there was a fuck ton written about it, and I was more interested in viewer responses, and so I spent a lot of time going through that and going through the kind of back and forth between Republicans and Democrats and sort of ideologues on both sides.
Yeah.
But where I was left with it was just extremely frustrated, because much like the whimsical first half of Do You Think I'm Spooky, where we talk about 90s, so much of what happens in reaction to this movie, the rhetoric and the attitudes and the hysteria, is still playing out. We're still doing the same fucking thing, and we're all still allowing ourselves to be manipulated by essentially the same people with the same plans and strategies. Nothing ever changes, and it is absolutely infuriating.
Would you say war never changes?
No, I would say, if anything, war is the thing that changes very often. War changes quite a lot. Otherwise, we'd all still be using muskets, which is why that line is so stupid.
Yeah. Since the last election and Generation X kind of became the new sort of generational enemy of culture.
The whipping boy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the numbers don't lie. The fucking boomers voted more progressively than our peers did. we take a lot of shit from younger people because of, our peers tend to post really cringe memes about, we're hard because we were latchkey kids and we fucking watched the Challenger explode and we didn't ride bikes with helmets on and shit like that. But I do think that this period of history, being this young at this time, kind of does explain a little bit about us. It was a real sort of doom and gloom moment.
Mm-hmm. I think that lingered.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's still there. Like Friday night, I think the thing that really, really got under my skin about this was Friday night. We watched this hours after Donald Trump fucking posted that like Dmitry Medvedev mouthed off at him on Twitter. And so he was like, hey, fuck around and find out. Here's 2 nuclear submarines that I'm positioning within range of Russian targets, which is fucking stupid saber rattling because we can reach fucking Russia from anywhere. But
you could see it from Alaska.
This is true, but yeah.
Hey, dated jokes.
It's a topical. We're in that, and we have even worse, dumber people sort of committed to just waving these fucking weapons around. Like he has a very particular, the N-word thing that makes his fucking crowds of hogs go crazy. He seems really, really into using them. Like, why don't we nuke hurricanes? Why don't we?
He is very much stuck in the 80s. He is I think a lot of the people that we see in politics right now, they are very much stuck in this period where they're like, well, why didn't we ever do any of that? It's because it was bullshit, stupid ideas, motivated by Christian supremacy.
Why don't we nuke Iran? Why don't we, he's just fucking desperate to use these fucking things. So yeah, this shit was an icy little stabbing in my heart as we fucking watched this. But let's get into it.
Okay.
So as we said, the year was 1983, year of our Lord. So here were some other made-for-TV movies released in 1983.
Yes.
The Kid with the 200 IQ.
Not good.
Yep. No. And then also, have you seen it?
Mm-hmm.
You have.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a Sam Pancake episode?
Nope.
Okay. But you just watched it?
I have spent many years watching a lot of bad movies on YouTube.
Okay, it'll be interesting to see how many of these you've seen, because here's another one. Cocaine, One Man's Seduction.
I've not, but I want to.
It stars Dennis Weaver.
Okay, then I'm in.
Yeah, who's probably seduced by cocaine in that movie.
He's already very wiry, so he's just wild. He's like Jim Carrey.
Yep. Also that year, Special Bulletin.
I have seen it.
I
watched it very recently.
Which is another nuclear scare movie. In that one, it's a dirty bomb that goes off.
Yeah. It is a very much bottom shelf version of this.
Okay. And then here's another one. Bill on His Own.
No.
I have no idea what it's about. I just thought the title was funny. Here's the last one. Great title. Wait Till Your Mother Gets Home.
Is this a teen scare movie?
I have no idea. I have no
because
clue.
Paranormal made-for-TV movies are my top shelf. That's what I have my go-to. Right below those are like the Teenage Wasteland movies. Those are real good. Like if you want some real fucked up movies, wait till we're going to get into some of those next year. Like Portrait of a Teenage Alcoholic, Dawn, Portrait of a Teenage Runaway.
That's the one with Christiane F.
What?
That's the teenage hooker one from I think it's from Germany.
Oh, there's tons of teenage prostitute ones.
No,
there was like
Wait
a
Till Your
real.
Mother Gets Home is a made-for-TV comedy film about basically it's got Dee Wallace in it, but
okay, well I like Dee Wallace.
It looks like it's Mr. Mom.
Boo.
Yeah, I know. We had room for no Mr. Moms, and we still got one.
Listen, this movie was written by a guy named Edward Hume, who also wrote a movie called Sweet Hostage.
Okay,
and Sweet Hostage is a made-for-TV
like movie.
Well, it's not, but you're going to take back all of the joy you have in just a minute.
Oh, no.
Sweet Hostage is a made-for-TV movie starring Martin Sheen and Linda Blair, where Martin Sheen kidnaps Linda Blair and, like, absconds with her to a cabin in the woods where she is basically his wife. Linda Blair was about 14 years old when they made this, and Martin Sheen was not.
This sounds crazy.
It is very upsetting because it is almost dealt with as though it's not the relationship that's the problem, but the kidnapping.
Oh, boy.
So good.
So our director is a dude named Nicholas Meyer.
Nicholas Meyer, you have just made one of the most memorable Star Trek movies. What do you want to do next?
No, he was a difficult director in the best way possible. Meyer came into the project after a few years in Hollywood directing features. His first major project was Time After Time, where H.G. Wells chases Jack the Ripper around in a time machine.
It is a boring and confusing movie that has somehow attained cult status.
I know. His marquee accomplishment was saving the Star Trek franchise from total collapse with 1982's The Wrath of Khan. Meyer saw the day after as an opportunity to do some real damage to the Reagan administration and hopefully deny him a second term by broadcasting a blistering, hopeless scenario that made people realize that Reagan's insistence that a nuclear war was winnable was delusional nonsense.
I can't wait to see how that works out. I think it's a pretty good strategy. Got a chance to win.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how that works out for him. It didn't work, and he fought the network and network censors all the way to the end of the project, but it did have a major impact on the entire world, changed policy of 2 nuclear superpowers in the end.
It also kind of ruined his career.
I don't know. Because
I don't know that he would have had much a career to begin with.
He's a pretty successful author as well. He writes like Sherlock Holmes fan fiction, but like
nice.
They publish it, and it's apparently, I mean, if you're into that sort of thing,
there is a huge market for Sherlock Holmes fan fiction. Fucking, who's the guy that's in Game of Death, the basketball?
Oh, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
He wrote one.
Fuck, what?
Yeah, like a bunch of I'm going to say like maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. They kind of revived the Sherlock Holmes extended universe. And
okay, yeah, I've seen a few like recent projects that are not about Sherlock Holmes, but about like
his brother,
Dr. Watson, and and Mycroft Holmes,
and so they just got like famous people. Basically, most of them are authors, but like I think Stephen King might have written one. But like just a bunch of random authors wrote for these, and one of them was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But there's a lot of there's a big market there, I guess.
People be into it.
Now, if I liked Sherlock Holmes, maybe I'd throw my hat in the ring, and they'd be like, "Why is this Sherlock Holmes book so gay?" And I'd be like, "Why are you being a homophobe? Sherlock Holmes can be gay if he wants to."
Have you ever heard of the Pharaoh Love series?
No, is that gay Sherlock Holmes?
It's gay Sherlock Holmes. It's gay black Sherlock Holmes.
Okay,
yeah,
I'm in.
So our cast includes Jason Robards, winner of the esteemed acting Triple Crown.
And the man who has been 100 years old for as long as I can remember. Is he dead? Who knows?
He died in 2000. But yeah,
sure.
Like when I looked him up, I saw like all these pictures of him young, and I was like, who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah, he's always looked old to me.
Yeah. He's got a Tony, and he's got multiple Tonys, multiple Emmys, and multiple Oscars. He is one of only 24 actors to achieve such an honor. And
he's a EGOT?
No. He is. It's called Triple Crown. He's not an EGOT though.
Oh, so he has the Kentucky Derby, Saratoga.
Yep. He's an EGOT without the Grammy, essentially.
Lazy bastard.
I know. Even Tracy Jordan got an EGOT.
Yeah, if the guys from fucking South Park can do it,
do they?
I think so.
Oh shit, that's funny. Yeah. He was a seriously tenured actor with a highly recognizable face. You've seen him in fucking everything.
Literally everything.
Between 1970 and 1990. He is
not even 1970. He's in Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yeah.
He's in shit in like the 50s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like his earliest roles are like in 1949, I think.
Yeah. I don't like him.
I have no real strong feelings about him one way or the other.
I think the reason I really don't like him is the first time he really probably came to prominence in my mind is in Philadelphia, and he is such a wretched person in that movie.
It's one of those roles that just ruins an entire actor for you, that we've talked about this effect in the past.
And so, like, I'm sure he is probably a gentle, lovely person, or was, but I can only ever see him as that fucking monster in that movie. And like he's in Johnny Got His Gun.
I was going to say the one thing that I always, when I see him, the first thing that jumps to mind is Johnny Got His Gun. And that's not because I've seen that movie. I've actually never seen that.
Like the Metallica video.
It's because of Metallica.
I have seen the movie. It's not very good.
Okay.
It's a terrifying premise of not a very good movie. But yeah, he's just like All the President's Men. Like he's in huge movies, and I just don't like him.
Yeah. And then they call him Steve the Goots Gutenberg.
Oh, Steve Gutenberg, my God,
Steve,
what a man, what a guy, what a fella.
Comes on in, can't stop the music, just roller skating, roller disco.
There's no roller and can't stop.
No, but he roller skates in it.
He is a DJ in that one, I believe.
Yeah. And I believe that is his role in that. But also, he becomes the face of the Police Academy series as Sergeant Mahoney.
Yeah, Steve Gutenberg, Police Academy, he's in like all of them. 3 Men and a Baby, and it's whatever dumb sequel. He's in Short Circuit. Mm-hmm. He's in Can't Stop the Music. Like I feel like was a ubiquitous presence in the 80s. And my understanding is that he is a very good-humored, good-natured person. Yeah. And I love that. I think I love that more than anything else, especially now when we're at a point where if you were an actor, white male actor in the 70s or 80s, and you've sort of fallen out of fashion, most of them are just like MAGA fucking jack-offs at this point because nobody's paying attention to them. So they're like, hey, what happened? I was a big action star. Yeah. Why doesn't anybody like me anymore? It's like, because now you're basically John Voight, and who fucking cares? Shut up. Yeah. But I don't think he's that. I think when you hear about people that are like, yeah, I just sort of aged gracefully, and sometimes I show up and stuff, and people are like, hey, it's Steve Gutenberg. Yeah. He seems to be an alright guy. He shows up in the Goldbergs. Yeah, he's fantastic. With literally everybody else from the 1980s. I like that show. It's a nice show.
I do like that show as well. It's quite funny. Barry Goldberg, one of the funniest goddamn characters ever.
Really is.
Yeah. Rounding out our cast, we got John Lithgow.
And I will say, nice to see a young John Lithgow.
Yeah. Yep. It's a young John Lithgow that's not the John Lithgow in Blowout.
Correct.
Because that version is terrifying.
And yet you're also kind of like, is John Lithgow kind of hot?
Psychotic assassin John Lithgow. Is he hitting those strings just right?
A little bit.
Yeah.
But hey, if you got to choose, just watch Blow Up. It's a better movie.
Yep. And then Blow Up or Blow Out?
Blow Up is a better movie. Blow Out is an American remake.
Blow Up is a good movie. I do like Blow Out though. You get Nancy Allen. You get good John Travolta.
Yeah, you can't beat
good music.
And Antonioni.
That's true.
And you want to talk about good music? That is Herbie Hancock does the soundtrack to Blow Up. Yeah, and it is fantastic. I can't remember who does Blow Out. I think it's probably fucking what's his face who did Carrie, and I can't remember his name right now. He's Italian.
Pino Donaggio.
I can't believe I blanked on it. Love Pino Donaggio.
It's a fun name to say too. Nah, John Lithgow. Boy, Footloose. That's when you think of if you're not thinking of Kevin Bacon, you're thinking of John Lithgow or Diane Wiest.
He's in Raising Cain. Great movie. He is in what's the one I'm thinking of? John Lithgow. Well, he's in the Crown. People liked him in The Crown.
He was in a really good season of Dexter, which I believe was the last season of Dexter.
What's the one I'm thinking of?
Some real problems in that one, but he was a great character in that one.
It's a John Lithgow. And he is he in, what's the one with Tim Robbins? He's a Vietnam.
No.
Oh, not Danny Aiello.
Yeah.
Well, look, everybody knows who fucking John Lithgow is.
But also,
he was on Third Rock from the Sun, for God's sake.
You love him. He's another character you just love to see and stuff.
And he's a great actor. And he also seems like he's a pretty decent person.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, for a movie that was trying to fucking cast a bunch of unknowns, cavalcade of stars.
I also I take issue with the idea that like we're casting unknowns. Like, are you Joe Beth Williams, who was in one of the biggest movies of 1981?
Yeah.
Steve Gutenberg was in a bunch of shit. Jason Robards is Jason Robards. Like, you have huge actors in this movie.
We get Amy Madigan is in this.
Like, she at least would have been a relative unknown at the time.
Stephen First.
Yep.
Is also in this, pretty recognizable dude. Also, I want to go back to Steve Gutenberg for a second. Dude should have got a fucking Emmy for this movie.
He's pretty good in this.
He is. Oh, the way that this movie ends, man, I was feeling that shit.
I make a lot of Gutenbergian jokes, but I'll tell you what, I think he's a good actor.
Yeah. Yeah. He fucking flexes in this movie. I mean,
and he's at his Gutenbergiest in this.
This is peak Gutenberg in 1983. Yeah.
Yeah.
So ABC producers basically came up with this idea to make a realistic movie about the aftermath of a nuclear war. After the
Because what else would be more hilarious?
It's topical. It'll definitely get a lot of eyes on. What they probably couldn't have foreseen was the difficulty they would have getting people to advertise during it. I watched
to the point where they just gave up.
Yeah, this movie did have ad breaks, but only for the first half of the movie.
Which I believe was actually strategic. I don't think that they couldn't sell. I think that they were.
Well,
they
the
did
reason
that intentionally.
okay, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. We'll talk about the advertisers in a second, because this movie, when it hit broadcast, it was not the original intended project.
Right.
But there was a successful movie called The China Syndrome in 1979, which is about a near-miss nuclear meltdown at a nuclear power plant, and the cover.
That's written by what's his face, isn't it?
Who?
The Jurassic Park.
Is it Michael Crichton?
I think so. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I just associate it with Michael Crichton. He sucks.
I don't think it was. But at this time, nuclear shit was just on everybody's mind. And that's not going to change. After this, a few years after this, Chernobyl happens. And all of a sudden, we are reviewing.
And then 3 Mile Island.
With 3 Mile Island. 3 Mile Island happened.
I think it was first.
Happened weeks after the China Syndrome came out.
Nice.
And so the fucking timing of it was crazy. But yeah, like into the 80s, after Chernobyl, everybody is, because nuclear power plants are beginning to appear all over the United States, and opinions on nuclear power plants are starting to change.
Also, for anyone who is concerned about nuclear power, they are extremely safe.
I was going to say, Chernobyl was a very early project, and it was produced with the fucking Soviet Union,
who are just a couple steps above North Korea.
Not taking the best care. Everybody's just kind of half.
Everything's made out of plywood. Did you know that when I'm saying nuclear. Goddamn. When they melt down, mm-hmm. they implode. They basically melt in on themselves and create this kind of not a bubble, but it just kind of compacts in on itself instead of blowing out.
Yes. Yeah. And what it ends up doing is it's hot and it pushes itself downward.
Yeah.
And so it essentially burns a hole in the earth.
Which not great, admittedly.
But there's worse places for it to go. But still, the Chernobyl plant has to be encased in fucking cement. The entire plant has to be encased in cement to contain the radiation.
And there's still dumbass people who are like, let's go urban exploring. Well, you get what you get then, don't you?
Yeah. So as for this movie, the timing could not possibly have been better. Though it had been in development as early as 1979, several factors coincided in 1983 that put people on edge. The Second SALT Treaty, which placed new limits on nuclear arsenals for the United States and the USSR, was voided by the United States when the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan in 1979. And so in 1980, all that shit just goes out the window, and we started producing weapons on a massive fucking scale. The impetus for this entire movie, the thing that kind of sets the incident off, is the fact that we have been deploying Pershing 2 missiles along the Iron Curtain, which is basically a full warhead load in a weapon that could be launched off of a truck, basically.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Right.
Just a precaution.
And also that if it wasn't for that, for the October surprise in the sort of Reagan-Carter election, this probably would have fucked them, because everybody was like, oh, he's soft on the Soviet Union. So the Reagan administration was seriously belligerent towards the USSR following Carter's term.
He's just a simple peanut farmer. Leave the man alone. He is deceased.
He did his best. He
really did do his best with a bunch of real, a boatload of bullshit.
Yep. And so Reagan's administration also, because they were all heavily invested in GE and fucking other places, basically building parts for nuclear weapons.
Yeah, they really do rival the current administration in terms of corruption and monstrositousness.
Precisely. Yeah, they were basically we need to keep making weapons because of mutually assured destruction. And also, we can win this war if it ever happens.
Yeah, who was his press secretary? Who's that?
I don't remember.
Who was the one wrote a speech? He's a speechwriter. Was it? It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But yeah. The official Reagan administration line in the early 80s was, don't sweat it. We got this.
Yeah, that came from the administration because Ronald Reagan was seriously demented by that point, and I hope it was a terrible experience for him.
There is a moment in this movie where in the version that you can watch now, the version you can get through Kino, the voice actor has been changed who does the presidential address, but back then in 1983 when they broadcast it
wasn't. They cut it before that.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
Yeah, they cut it before that because he sounded way too much, and they were like, oh, no, that's a little too close to home.
Because I sort of imagined Reagan watching the movie at Camp David and being like, hey, mother, remember when I gave that speech?
Was I there for that? Who was that? Who is that man? He sounds very handsome. Is that our son?
Yeah. So
not the gay one, not that one. He doesn't sound like me.
Yeah. So there was also a massive proliferations of new weapon platforms, which were deployed, faster rockets, larger yield warheads, an entirely new generation. We mentioned them, the medium range missiles. And also Minuteman ICBMs, which could drop 300 kilotons on Moscow from silos fucking buried in Montana. There were also new Trident missiles, which could be launched in multiples from submarines that could put that much more explosive power on targets. And for each new device developed in the United States, the Soviet Union had one to match. Actually, the Soviet Union had about 3,000 more weapons than we did.
I just want to say, for the record, I hate absolutely everything that you're saying.
You should. That's the fucking point. I'm trying to impress upon you how fucking perilous it was.
You don't need to impress that upon me. Remember when you jokingly were like, you wasted all of your life and money pursuing an advanced degree in American history, blah, 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 blah.
I'm over here, and for the record, I was joking. I'm proud as hell of you and your accomplishments. That is a fucking thing that I wish I could say I did. But here's more. The 1983 false alarm incident.
The weapons get bigger and better.
You could say
dumber.
That. In 1983, there was a false alarm incident in Russia in which a Soviet early warning system detected several incoming missiles from the United States. Nice. This is one of basically a dozen incidents when either radars in the United States or in the Soviet Union detected missiles coming. And people were like, wait a second.
Remember when it was like I think it was the first Trump administration when this very thing happened, I think in Hawaii?
Yes.
And people were like, are we all gonna die? And everyone was like, well, yes, children, we are. Mm-hmm. Duck and cover.
Yeah. This happens a lot, actually. And every time it was the hesitation of the radar technicians that basically saved the world. There weren't, of course, any missiles, but standing orders were to report missiles so the USSR could retaliate. The engineer in command, realizing what this could mean, waited for other stations to report back and determine that it was a malfunction in their system. And then...
sorry, everybody. Sorry.
Nope.
False alarm.
And then
no big deal.
Major international incident broke out in 83 when the Soviets shot down Korean Airlines Flight 007, thinking that it was a spy plane. They killed something like 250 passengers.
Yeah, and then later on, fucking Malcolm Gladwell was like, no, you know what it was? It was because they're Korean and they're bad at flying. That's literally in his fucking book.
I don't think this is the last time we're going to hear from Malcolm Gladwell in this episode.
Nope, because he has a lot of dumb shit to say.
Yep.
Hey, everybody, Malcolm Gladwell, total fucking grifter. Don't read his books.
Yep. And then lastly, Able Archer was a NATO readiness exercise in Europe, which had people on the ground. Like it had actual, it was an exercise for preparedness and readiness for war. And so there's mechanized units, there's armor driving around, and to the Soviet Union, it looked like we were getting ready to attack them. And so they began readying their arsenal. And then we detected them readying their arsenal and readied our arsenal. And then we had to go to fucking UN's security. Basically the UN went into fucking emergency council and diplomacy won out in the end, luckily.
If you need a metaphor, this is basically like a couple of people being like, dear Russian people, I like you. Do you like me? And then you'd be like, no, I saw it. He was writing a note. I think he's writing a note to you. You should get ready to write a note back to him. It's just a bunch of people being like, I want to kill somebody and a lot of somebody's real soon. Can we make that happen?
I want to use a weapon that will literally erase them from reality.
I think much like you earlier said when you were watching this film, I have a hard time articulating this particular feeling about this era because, again, when it comes to younger people, there is an idealizing or a romanticizing of the 80s where it is like pop culture kitsch to the sort of nth degree. And that may be true to a certain extent. There's a lot of garbage in there, but also there was this feeling, and it's probably because it's too close that I can't describe it, and I don't know how to describe it, but like this feeling that of danger, but also of patriotism that is being jammed down your throat all the time. Like, you know, when I was a kid, and you were also a child at the same time, relatively, and G.I. Joe, fucking all these like Mask, all these cartoons for kids were all about being the good guys. And being the good guys is going to be a very heavy theme in this movie. Who is the good guy and who is the bad guy?
Right. Yeah.
In both the film and in the making of the film.
Yep.
And I'm, you know, we are now in a place where I think young people, you know, not maybe not when we were the age that these people would be, like our age when this movie came out. People that age now don't really have a lot of concepts of that. But I think younger people in general understand that there really is no good guy or bad guy. That it's all sort of relative to your position in the world. And there's a sense of morality in whatever culture you're in. But like at the time, there was very much, it was a sort of dichotomous understanding of the world. Like we are good because we are American. And therefore, whatever we do is good. It's morally righteous. Russians, therefore, are bad. Mm-hmm. And whatever they do is justification for what we do to them. And it's very hard to explain. Like there is an intense weight to that children don't understand. And I think it becomes sort of manifest in this film and in the reaction to this film, because everyone is like, whoa. We as adults all understand this is bullshit political rhetoric. We get that. But now you're scaring the shit out of everybody who doesn't understand that with a television movie. And television films were very much intended for families.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I think is really interesting about made-for-TV movies that Amanda Reyes, who she used to, I can't remember the name of her old show. She currently has a show called, I think it's called Made-for-TV Mayhem. She wrote Are You in the House Alone, which is like a kind of a compendium about 70s and 80s made-for-TV movies. She's real cool. Check out her shit. She's on Instagram and all the social stuff. Go Amanda Reyes. She's really awesome. Go check her out. But one of the things she has pointed out is that movies, big budget sort of Hollywood movies, that was about the world outside. Like it was, you know, the sort of bigger concepts, larger social and cultural things. That TV movies were about what goes on in the home, the small issues. So everything is like, it's either contained within a household or contained within a community, contained within a family or within two people's relationship. And that's why, so TV movies were really meant for things like you were supposed to sit down and watch them either with your kids or they might watch them by themselves. But like it was prime time TV when, you know, it goes on at 8:00 on a fucking Sunday. So it's there for everybody.
Yep.
And so to put this movie on was just like, you are essentially being like, hey kids, you have no context really for any of this other than kind of pro-American rhetoric and American exceptionalism. And then you see this and it's just like, oh my God, are we all going to die?
Yeah.
Like it's very hard to explain. And I'm not even articulating what I want to get at, but like there was this sort of pall over this era that I think dies down a little bit towards the end of the 80s. And I think it explains so much about the 80s, the 90s, and especially now.
Yeah. We're searching. We're trying to get that feeling back.
And it also explains, I think, a lot about genre film more broadly, but I think particularly horror as well. It's like this sort of ineffable thing that I'm trying to describe and doing a very bad job of is, I think, what fuels a lot of the sort of like unnameable, unquantifiable fear that is fuels a lot of creativity, particularly with horror.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the reasons why this is so interesting and so important. And also at the same time, me saying I am going to ramble a lot in the next, I'm going to say 5 hours.
All right. So understandably, ABC executives were like, how the fuck are we going to put this shit out on TV, dudes? You got the literal end of the world on the page here with people's eyes melting and skin falling off.
And they were like, hey, what about that guy? You're like, Khan, what about the guy who did that? Is he available? And they were like, well, we actually have 7 or 8 other people in mind. And they were like, those people don't want it. What about the Khan guy, though? And they were like, fine, I guess.
All right.
That is literally what happened. There were actually like 6 other people they wanted for this. None of them wanted anything to do with it. They looked at the
script and they were like, how the hell am I supposed to do this?
And he looked at it and was like, oh, yes.
He's like, I'm going to ruin Ronald Reagan's life.
I have been trying to say this to Ronald Reagan for years now.
I admire that. If I had that shot, I'd take it.
At Ronald Reagan?
Oh, yeah.
Careful. Phrasing.
Somebody's got a capital D, capital I, do it. So,
somebody tried.
So, but for the wrong reasons. He wanted fucking
what? Jodie Foster was sexy.
The movie's original title was Silence.
It's going off the rails.
Silence in Heaven, which is from the Book of Revelation. Revelation 8:1. When the Lamb opened the 7th seal, there was silence in heaven for a half hour.
But there is significance to that as well, because that is supposedly how long it would take for the Minuteman missile to get from Russia to here and vice versa.
Right. The production chose Lawrence, Kansas, a real small town in Kansas, after considering a couple of spots in the middle of the country. It ultimately came down to Lawrence because of its proximity to interesting locations in a single part of the state, but also because it's right there in the middle of the country where many of our Minuteman silos are located.
It is literally dead center of the country.
Yeah.
It is there, but also because they were one of very few locations in that area that were like, hell yeah, we want in on this. Everyone else was like, no, thank you. No, we'll pass. You want to destroy our town?
Lawrence, Kansas's enthusiasm for making this movie is so great. I do love it.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. They were going to fictionalize the town's name, but the people of real Lawrence insisted on the production using its real name. As a matter of fact, they were just like super into it. They readily showed up to be extras in this movie. Some of them shaved their heads.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that is dedication.
Mm-hmm. Yep. When the network had a shooting script, they took it to network censors in a meeting with ABC execs and Nicholas Meyer, who couldn't believe the demands the censors were making. He was a features guy. He had never really worked in TV at this level. And he was like, how the fuck am I supposed to make this movie when you're making all of these cuts? Like, they sent him pages and pages and pages of notes of stuff that just could not go into the movie.
They looked at this. They looked at the original script and they were basically like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You cannot put this on television. And he was like, why?
Yeah.
So the original shooting script for this, the movie was almost 4 hours long.
It was intended to be a 2-part miniseries.
Yeah, it was going to be a two-night thing. Because around this time, 2-night miniseries type of movies were real hot.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of like I think Lonesome Dove kind of.
Mm-hmm. Every time they did a Lonesome Dove new movie, it was like 2 nights, 3 nights, 4 nights.
But they looked at the script and they were just like, no, you can't put this shit in a movie on TV. Absolutely not.
Yep.
So he was like, oh, fine.
Yeah, because it gets so much better. They were also meeting with the Department of Defense for research and consulting, but the DoD demanded that the Soviets fire first in the movie. So the relationship between the DoD and Meyer broke down, and he was going out of his way to make it an ambiguous detail because, as you'll find out as we go through this, it's not clear. It doesn't fucking matter who fired first. But the DoD...
and that was his whole point, was like, his whole point was, this is not about who does what to who. This is about the consequences of what you're doing right now.
Yeah, this is about what happens to you, the viewer. You are going to be dying of stage 4 cancer inside of a week. It does not fucking matter who fired first.
Yeah.
This is not the last time the United States government's going to be a pain in the ass about this movie. The censors delivered a heavy series of notes to Meyer and the producers, which would have rendered the movie pretty much powerless. So Meyer took the notes, thanked the censors, and then filmed the entire script, totally ignoring the censors.
That was also part of his deal. He was like, you have to if I'm going to do this movie, you have to let me do it my way. Now, obviously, he had to cave a little bit to get it on TV. So to get it past the censors, they had to make some concessions. But he was like, beyond that, there's not going to be any studio interference. And they essentially were like, Okay, fine.
Yeah. Yeah, like
Which
some
is
of the
weird.
some of the stuff that got cut was shit that the movie can do without, but it's just like really,
because it's already kind of a rambling movie.
But it's all stuff like really, really explicit on-screen destruction, like people burning and shit, like skulls with no faces on them and shit. It's stuff
and I
like
will
that.
say, I find this movie to be pretty tame.
Yeah, I mean, it had to be to get on TV. Threads is not going to do that. Threads is gonna shove it down your fucking throat.
They have different standards for their television.
Yeah. They also a part of the problem with doing a 2-night thing is they started showing this to advertisers who were like, you want us to advertise Pepsi during this movie? And they're like, yeah, sure. It's just a TV movie. And they're like, the world literally ends and you're going to do this across 2 nights. And they're like, yeah, sure. What's the problem? And so, they eventually,
I gotta say, when it comes to this, when it comes to the response to this movie in general, and I will spend a lot more time talking about it soon, but like, I find there's so much hypocrisy in all of this where they're like, no, what about the children? Oh my God. And it's like, we are the most materialistic, fucking disgusting culture on earth. And all of a sudden they're like, you want to advertise Pepsi in a movie?
yeah.
Like, you could have Buffalo Bill cutting up a woman and splaying her alive, and they've got fucking Duracell batteries in the back. Come on.
This is actually some of Nick Myers' like criticism towards
Get
this
off
process.
your fucking high horse. This is ridiculous.
Meyer was fired during post-production for not yielding to the network notes. He was brought back after sending a very, very long letter detailing all the shit he objected to in the rough cut that he was shown. And then he went out to every industry media outlet that would listen and loudly talked shit about ABC until they brought him back.
There was also probably a very strongly worded letter from his lawyer in there too.
Also, the Writers Guild got involved. Or the Directors Guild got involved, and he eventually they brought him back because also the editor that they brought in to sort of replace Meyer's editor was just not pulling it off, and so they were like, "God damn it, just bring him back. Let's get this shit finished so we can put it on TV."
I think one of the things, and I don't know, maybe we'll get into it in a minute, but like it's one of the things I feel like we're kind of underselling is that the movie itself is it's a pretty tame film, even by 1983 standards. It's relatively
mood and theme are doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, they do a lot of the heavy lifting. Yeah, but like it's a pretty minor film. That's a little bit boring, if anything else. It's the hysteria around it that reaches this fever pitch, and so everybody was expecting this like fucking shotgun blast to the face of anti-patriotic bullshit. And I think when they saw it, they were like, oh, what? That was your movie?
Well, published a criticism anyways.
But yeah, it was really, the story is about the fervor around it. It's not about the movie itself. Because honestly, again, the movie itself, it's not that good. It's kind of boring. It's a little lame, very dated. But like, it's all this other weird shit and how much everybody's getting caught up in this drama surrounding the movie. This is one of those movies where people are like protesting and it's like, oh, have you seen it? And they're like, no.
Right.
It's really one of those stories where it's like you're just caught up in the kind of moral panic surrounding it rather than any of the content itself.
Yeah. To secure the future of the project to make sure that ABC didn't kill it, because at a certain point it looked like they were going to, Meyer gave the movie to some anti-nuke activists on the down low and made sure that it was circulated to various activist groups who showed it to more groups of people to get the word out and generate discussion of the movie before it aired.
They honestly did not know who they were. Like for years, they were like, because his deal was like, I'll give it to you, but you can't tell them where you got it. And so they were like, okay.
Yeah.
And so nobody really knew how they got a pirated copy of it straight from the guy who made it.
Yeah. Oh, and going back to that like 2-night version of it, you can actually watch it on YouTube if you've got 4 hours to kill. I don't know if I got that in me.
I don't. Not for this movie.
No. By the time it hit broadcast, it was well known to the public by reputation alone. And when it finally aired, it had been hyped to a point that it pulled 62% of all people watching TV in America that night.
Over 100 million.
Which is fucking crazy.
That's like bigger than the Super Bowl.
It's still the most watched TV movie of all time, and
that's a low bar.
One of the, and like, but also like one of the most watched TV events ever.
Yep. But it also had a huge budget. This had a $7 million budget for a fucking TV movie in 1983.
Which is wild that ABC believed in it that much because they saw the script before Meyer even came along.
Exactly. They saw the script and they were like, oh, people are going to watch this.
Yeah.
They didn't really, again, I think a lot of people are assuming good faith. And I don't think you can do that with this movie. I think you have to go into this being a cynic and looking at it and saying, all of these fucking TV scumbags knew that this was going to be the biggest fucking thing ever. This was going to be Christmas for them.
Yeah.
And so that's why they were like, of course we'll give you $7 million. Fucking everybody's going to watch this. And also, it's what is it? Who's the Mirror Has Two Faces? Barbara Streisand.
Barbara Streisand is crazy.
Yeah, she is. She also has a personal assistant who she makes drive several hours to Santa Barbara to get her a particular kind of ice cream. She's a lunatic. But it's that idea that there is no such thing as bad press. The more people talk about it, the more they're going to want to see it.
Yeah.
So if you stir up all of this hysteria about this movie, people are going to watch it.
Yeah.
And also when you're like, yeah, but we can't sell the ads, that's also a fucking lie. That was a stunt.
Really? Because that's $7 million just burned.
They still advertised the first half of the movie.
Yeah, I suppose.
These are the kinds of people that were remember when fucking Madonna did the Like a Prayer thing and then she did the Coke or Pepsi ad or whatever?
Oh, right.
And they were like, oh, we can't air this. And she was like, all right, but you're still going to pay me. And they were like, yeah, fine, whatever.
Sure.
They have more fucking money than they know what to do with. I think that's why you have to be cynical going into this. Is this is the 80s, man. These are slimy people.
Yeah. So a part of the hype process also was local TV affiliates set up support hotlines that people could call.
Yeah, I sent you one.
You did. I posted it on our stories.
Nice.
Yeah. As so they could call them if they were suddenly broken by the movie's overwhelming despair.
Yeah, so they really built up that aspect of it. This idea that this is going to be the most traumatic thing in the world.
But the thing is they weren't wrong. This movie had a dramatic effect on the public.
It did and it didn't. So one of the things they did, so going into this, there's more shit leading up in the month leading up to this. There are more articles than I have ever seen for any movie.
Wow.
Just everywhere, in every fucking paper.
Yeah.
And so initially the National Education Association puts out their own warning about the movie. And it says, the day after will be televised Sunday night at 8. The National Education Association, which regularly endorses TV shows for children, has issued its first advisory urging parents to prevent young children from watching the program. We believe that parents under no circumstances should allow their children to watch this program alone. If teenagers watch the movie, they should do so with parents or other adults. There were a fuck ton of articles in countless newspapers of people being like, we had teenagers watch this film and they asked questions. And it's like, okay, teenagers aren't stupid.
Yeah, right.
They know what's going on. They understand all this. And there was, I think, a certain amount of fear that was real. Mm-hmm. Because it's not what's happening in the movie. It's what's happening around them in the real world.
Right.
And they want to project.
This gave context to what was a sort of just kind of vague idea. We all kind of knew that we had these weapons that could just do untold damage, but you did not have a sort of point of reference for it.
Right. And I think that was really Meyer's biggest achievement, is that that's really what he wanted to do, was to be like, you're hearing all of these bits and pieces about this, what's going on. Here's the reality of what would happen if they actually did this. It's all in theory. It's all sort of an abstract, this idea of nuclear weapons. And he wanted to be like, now you need to understand what would happen if they actually did this, because they're all talking in jargon and it's all sort of political rhetoric. Here's the actual, just sort of let's get down to brass tacks, everybody.
Right.
And he did.
Yeah.
But so there's a lot of that. There's a lot of scare tactics. And I think it's really interesting that Republicans will fully embrace scare tactics to achieve their wretched ends whenever they want to. But as soon as someone else does it to keep the world from blowing up, they lose their goddamn minds.
Oh, yeah. It's a death cult all the way through and through. They are 100% committed to killing everybody.
I fully believe that. I think it's the American death drive.
It is that. It is this weird Christian notion that we have to fucking immanentize the eschaton and fucking
put a pin in that one big time.
Yeah, bring Jesus back, and these weapons are gonna fucking do it as long as we nuke Megiddo. But
so leading up to all of this, like Mr. Rogers, the Mr. Rogers Neighborhood.
Yeah.
This show that they had a whole week that it was episodes on conflict that were basically about this in that same way that's like you might hear about this at home or on whatever TV.
And it was pure coincidence too. Like they did not produce those ahead of this. That was just that was St. Frederick's theme for those episodes.
And so there's like all of this going on. There was they decided. So there was also I think it was it was either 60 Minutes. I think it was 60 Minutes that I think it was either a week before this or a couple weeks before this, where they were like, they're very real. Like basically all the history that you just gave, where they were like, this actually might be a problem, everybody. And of course, Republicans reacted badly to that because they're like, you're being unpatriotic, blah, blah, blah. And so all this leading up to this, there's all this kind of crazy talk happening everywhere. And it's just so bizarre to me that like people were like, how dare you say this in a movie? And it's like, no, are you not paying attention?
Oh, sure. Like when I've got a little note here that's coming up about a couple of people who were just beside themselves on a panel show after the
couple.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the William F. Buckley one?
Yeah. So
yeah, that's the thing is right after they arranged for this thing where it was like Carl Sagan.
Yeah. So so Ted Koppel hosted. It was Carl Sagan. It was Elie Wiesel, who he wrote a bunch of books. Mouse is probably his kind of magnum opus. He's a Holocaust survivor.
What his parents were.
I believe he was.
Okay.
But
go read Mouse, everybody. It's really fucking good.
Oh yeah. William F. Buckley, Henry Kissinger, some other state representatives, and Carl Sagan and Wiesel can barely contain their disgust.
I mean, can you imagine though sitting across from that fucking smug piece of shit, William F. Buckley? I can't believe that man was not punched in the face more often.
No, they were. And so the sort of conservative guests on this, who shouldn't have been on in the fucking first place, were essentially like arms race apologists. They were like, we have to have this because if we don't, they will have more and they will be capable of destroying us. Thinking that like if they just, if the Soviet Union had a fucking leg up in terms of nuclear war, then they were absolutely going to use them against us.
And again,
they
put a pin in that because we're coming back.
They fucking weren't. They were just as frightened of this shit as we were. And they had the same sort of conservative element within their government that was just as zealous and fatalistic and just dedicated to sort of building up this massive arms so that we could just destroy everything.
Yeah, if people aren't familiar with William F. Buckley, you can go ahead and Google him if you want to. You definitely have better things you can do with your time. He is kind of the architect, or one of the architects of the modern Republican Party. He was one of the founders of what's that fucking the legal thing the Republicans love.
Oh, the Federalist Society.
Yeah, I am fucking nailing it tonight.
I got you.
He was like one of the architects of that. He's such a fucking asshole. Yeah. He's the one that called. Oh my God!
You can do it. You can do it. You got this.
He wrote the City and the Pillar. He wrote a lot of political books.
God damn it! Now I'm blowing it.
Gore Vidal.
Yes.
Very famous interaction between William F. Buckley and Gore Vidal, in which he calls William F. Buckley calls Gore Vidal a faggot. And I believe the best part about that story was right after Paul Newman charged into William F. Buckley's dressing room and is like, if you ever say that shit again, I'm gonna fucking punch you in the face.
I would love to see Paul Newman.
And we're talking hot Paul Newman. We're not talking salad dressing Paul Newman. We're talking peak Paul Newman.
Yeah. And so on this program, Carl Sagan, most of his criticism is you guys soft sold it. And he introduced a concept called nuclear winter to the public for the very first time, which was something that a lot of nuclear energy scientists were theorizing. But the thing is it's largely believed that would happen. And what it is when those bombs go off, particularly in concentration, you drop hundreds of them, thousands of them on a single nation, it's going to throw up a ton of, literally tons upon tons of radioactive dust into the atmosphere, high up into the atmosphere.
And you will block out the sun.
And it will block out the sun. It will literally block out the sun. It's like that fucking Simpsons episode of Who Shot Mr. Burns. And what happens is the earth goes cold and everything fucking dies. And everybody who didn't die of radiation poisoning or cancer is going to freeze to death.
Suit. Burns is suit.
It's the surface of the earth will become kind of like the surface of Mars, essentially.
Yeah. I love Carl Sagan.
He's a hell of a dude.
He was. He's dead now.
Yeah. But audience questions to the panel were 100% about how to take action, change policy, and reduce our arsenal. Republicans felt like the movie betrayed the entire nation. Before I go further, I want to say one other thing because this was fucking hilarious. They screened this about a month before it went on TV for Ronald and Nancy Reagan at Camp David, who apparently were rather moved by it. And then the fucking
Ronald Reagan was like, "Where's the monkey, mother? Why isn't the monkey in this movie?"
And then the administration basically assembled a bunch of notes for changes they wanted made to the movie. ABC executives completely ignored them.
Nice.
Yeah. Folks like the editorial staff of the New York Post, the weapons grade shithead Phyllis Schlafly in the National Review, and pancake enthusiast / game show host Ben Stein accused it of being communist propaganda. And all of them fixated on the fact that the movie doesn't make it clear who fired first.
Yeah, Jerry Falwell called it one-sided political statement.
Eat shit, Jerry Falwell.
I will tell you when Phyllis Schlafly died. So I remember two deaths distinctly in recent years. One is Osama bin Laden. The other is Phyllis Schlafly. I saw more people celebrate Phyllis Schlafly's death than I did Osama bin Laden's death. That's how fucking terrible Phyllis Schlafly was. She was a sack of shit in human skin.
Yeah. She was a fucking monster created in a lab by Republicans.
I want to say, what's a lady Uncle Tom? Cut that joke out.
This movie, however, did change Ronald Reagan's mind on nuclear weapons and warfare. And when it screened in Russia in 1987, it resulted in renewed disarmament talks between the two powers. Apparently, after this movie came out, he very literally did sort of come around to the idea that this cannot happen. We cannot have this shit. And then in 1984, he's fucking joking about bombing Moscow and stuff like that. But anyways, fuck Ronald Reagan.
Well, so here's the thing. I think what got me got my hackles up, as it were, is there is essentially this is reasonable, rational people saying, I need you to listen to what I'm telling you right now. If this happens, we're all doomed. All of us. Like
there will be no survivors. There will be the people who get blasted, who get burned off the earth in the immediate attack are the lucky ones. Everybody else is going to fucking get sick. They're going to get some kind of epidemic disease. They're going to be irradiated to the point where their fucking skin comes apart. They're going to have fucking stage 4 lymphoma within, a few days. They're going to starve. And then they're going to freeze to death. There will be no survivors.
And whatever is left after that, they will kill each other. Essentially, like that's, whatever mutant people are left, like you will die very, very quickly, and it will be incredibly painful and terrible, and everyone will suffer.
Yep.
And some people saw that and thought, oh my God, I think we need to take this seriously. Like there's a real come to Jesus moment.
Mm-hmm. Other people built cabins in the fucking mountains and bought buckets of spaghetti.
But you know what? Even those people, I feel like are a little bit more reasonable.
The thing is they came to the same conclusion where they're like, oh fuck, this is going to be bad. Their resolution is where they falter. They could not accept the reality part of it where they were like, oh, it doesn't, because the whole point of this movie is it doesn't matter what you do. Yeah.
There is no getting away. No. Like once it's done, and game over, man.
Right.
And there is such a significant portion of the American public that were like, you're being unpatriotic. And it's like, you are not fucking listening, you dumb piece of shit.
Nope. And they're still like that. They are still like that. Just like we said up top, this shit,
and that,
this shit never changes.
That's what drives me insane is I'm reading this and I'm like, my God, you people have not fucking changed. Rather than listen to reality and objectively, evaluate whatever evidence is being put in front of you, you just keep grabbing the Bible and waving that like you're like a fucking vampire in front of you.
Yeah.
And apropos of that, I'd like to share with you some of the letters to the editor that I gathered.
One more note, and then we'll talk reactions, and we'll get into it because this is fucking funny. When the movie aired, viewers in Gloucester, Massachusetts lost power at the moment the bombs go off in the movie.
Yep. And it's even better than that. So this happens. So there's a moment where the bomb goes off, and then in the movie, everybody loses power. Like, that is what would happen. It would kind of short out all of the...
Right. We'll talk EMP when that happens.
And so just as a coincidence, bizarre coincidence, 3,000 people in Gloucester, Massachusetts, which if you don't know where Gloucester is,
it's on the coast, the northern coast.
It's on the north coast. It's a very small town. It's where you'll find a statue of the Gorton fisherman.
It's very pretty.
It is pretty. Well, some of it's pretty. But just a bizarre coincidence. And according to the police chief, because I found a couple articles about this, about 400 people just left their house and went out into the street convinced that something had happened. That this was real.
The monsters are due on Maple Street.
Exactly. He said they got 300 phone calls that night. He was like, I've never seen anything like it.
People must have been sobbing.
I think it is hilarious.
It's pretty funny. So let's talk reactions.
Okay. So what do you want to do? You want to do critics first? Or do you want to do letters to the editor?
Let's do letters to the editor. Then let's talk critics.
Okay, letters to the editor. So here we've got one from Lexington, Kentucky. The people's names don't matter. This is from Lexington, Kentucky. Apparently, most Christians have been daydreaming during church because if they had been comprehending the word, capital W, sick, the day after would have had very little effect. I would rather have a more complete picture of the future from the Bible.
Eat shit.
Most people seem to know the true answers are within its pages, but they are truly afraid to admit these events must come to pass. Oh, must they?
So what she is saying is the apocalypse has to happen.
Yeah, if you had paid attention to the word, capital W, eat a bag of dicks, you fucking lunatic, then you would know that this must happen.
Listen.
Because, how else are we going to get Scorpion, Horse, Locust?
The Book of Revelation is some of the most heavy metal shit I have ever read. Don't want it to come to pass, though. Even in the theoretical possibility of such a thing. And
so the next one is, this is not Vietnam, sorry, World War II vet from Casper, Wyoming. So it's going to be good.
Oh, good.
The day after. Survive the, quote, day after with a first strike. Just remember, Sonny, I was there. Where were you?
Awesome.
What?
Nuke them all. Let God sort them out.
What?
That's
fantastic. Are you talking about? That is a nonsensical. That is a person who was clearly there because none of what he just said makes any sense at all.
It's that shit that's like, how dare you? How dare you criticize this government? Don't you know that men have died for your freedom?
Yeah. It's a little bit like, how can you have a good time when there are children starving in Palestine?
I know.
Anyway, shouldn't use Palestine. It's too hot. Too on topic.
Too hot for the hot tub.
There's next one, Madison, Wisconsin. As the controversy over nuclear weapons is fanned by films such as The Day After, we must remind ourselves that the question is not how to reduce the number of such weapons, but why we have these weapons in the first place. Would it not be easier to eliminate the threat of these weapons by first eliminating world communism? Maybe.
God.
I mean, I was to say. And finally, I got one. We're dragging at this point, but I got one more. The nuclear freeze movement, aided by the liberal media, is a danger to the security of this country. They send a false message to the Soviet Union. They signify weakness and pacifism and a willingness to unilaterally disarm. Their naive and misguided goals, if achieved, would never result in world peace. Quite the contrary, they would result in enslavement from all Americans.
You know, a piece of me wishes that this shit actually happened so these people could fucking experience this shit firsthand. But,
what I would love, and what I always think...
Actually, you know what? You know what? Just nuke their houses. That's it.
Because that's how it works.
You just put one on there, it won't affect anybody else.
I always love when people invoke the name of communism, the specter of communism. And I always want to say, define communism for me.
Communism is when the government does stuff.
Define socialism for me.
Yeah.
There's all these people that are just like, oh, the communists and the socialists. What are those? Tell me what those are.
Or the capital L left. There's no left wing in this country. Shut the fuck up.
So I grabbed those because I thought it would be interesting to see, you know, we live on the East Coast.
We live in our little elite liberal bubble.
A lot of our friends live on the East Coast or on the West Coast. I have very few people that I know that live in the middle of the country. And so I thought it would be interesting to grab some perspectives from people. And the idea, it's not so much the movie that they're commenting on. It's the idea that someone put forth this thing that calls into question the authority of the United States, of daddy, essentially. Like, how dare you question? They know what's best for us. And I find that appalling.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this movie as a movie. Because we've talked about it as a phenomenon. Now let's talk about it as a movie. And like I said, it was hard to find actual reviews of the movie because it's a TV movie. But the New York Times, no matter what its political content, high earnestness, or good intentions, The Day After must also be judged as a movie drama. By any conventional standards on this, it is terrible. That's essentially the whole review. Just FYI,
It's like
most people thought this movie sucked.
Spinal Tap. Shark sandwich? Shit sandwich.
So here's this Marvin Kittman's syndicated column. After seeing the movie, I have finally grown up. I know it's hopeless. Basically, it was a nuclear age Western. The cavalry rides out of the fort, but the good guys don't win. Everybody gets killed by the explosion or sick from radiation fallout. In time, we may adjust to this new type of war movie as it is repeated, as it surely will be. Time will tell. Meanwhile, I can only speak for myself. I've never been against missiles per se. We do need deterrence. Wait for it. The other guys are not nice like us.
Oh,
But in watching The Day After, the scenario portrayed in the movie, what we call national defense, seems to be absolutely insane. The other guys are not nice like us.
that's crazy. That's fucking crazy.
I think that's the big difference between now and then is people would not be like, oh, we're the good guys. We're always the good guys. And there is that assumption built into this movie that Americans are the good guys. Spoiler, everybody. Americans have never been the good guys.
We were still up to our fucking eyeballs in the fucking American century. So,
Yeah. So, Los Angeles Times. Dan Sullivan. The Day After was scary, but a TV movie after all. The story of how the survivors went on after the blast seemed much too orderly, far too optimistic about the human animal's concern for the other fellow in moments of severe trauma. It became a kind of disaster movie, not as close to the bone as early selections, and I wasn't surprised when the children seemed a little bored.
not a lot happens in the setup. It's 45
and
minutes.
I agree with him.
It's
I think
45 minutes of characters. An entire third of these characters are going to be fucking vaporized as soon as the bombs drop. So there is a bit of a dull buildup.
And then by the end, the movie becomes way too preoccupied with wrapping up the stories of the people who are left, where I'm like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
And finally, Bob Weishart, the Flint Journal. The Day After is uncompromising in its sense of hopelessness and generally unflinching in its portrayal of it. For all practical purposes, the performances are irrelevant. The 45 minutes or so until the bombs fall are too aimlessly anecdotal. The straw man of peace is obviously being set up to be bowled over by war, the likes of which the world has never known.
Yeah.
And I think that's a fair one, too. It's just like this whole thing is just a setup for the shock and awe.
For the 5-minute attack scene.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's wrong. But yeah, the critical consensus is this movie's fucking terrible and stupid.
There's only like 2 characters in the movie that I would say that I actually like.
The Goots.
The Goots is obviously Jim Dahlberg, the farmer, is also a character that I kind of like.
Who I always associate with Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Because he is the old man at the beginning.
Also, the guy who plays the priest in this movie, he's the badly scarred guy from that Miracle Man episode of The X-Files.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How about that? I will say, though, one thing I didn't mention is that, like, I kind of alluded to it, that there is this feeling of, like, you can't get away from the American exceptionalism. There's still this notion of like, but here it's going to be the worst, though,
I
right?
know. I've got some notes.
It'll be bad everywhere else, but it'll be really bad.
I got a couple of notes really clowning on that shit, so don't you worry.
Oy.
Yeah. Did you make Michael watch this?
No, he was asleep. He has seen it. I made him watch it a couple of years ago.
You're gonna make him watch Threads?
He thinks this one is stupid and funny. Threads is the one that he doesn't much care for.
Okay. So let's do it. Let's launch our missiles.
It's about goddamn time.
Fucking Christ, I know. If people are still listening, I'd be amazed. So we open on a strategic air command base as the Air Force general arrives on the SAC command plane. They're
just the whitest people you've ever seen.
I know. They're gonna go.
These are the kinds of white people who use the term ethnic food to describe pizza. They're that kind of white people.
Yep. They're going over the data of recent news related to escalating tensions in Europe and the United States' readiness for war. Also, a thing that I completely failed to mention, and the sort of like why this movie sort of holds the place in my consciousness that it does. We grew up in an area where there was a naval base and an Air Force base within like 5 miles of one another. And if this war were to have happened, they would have definitely been fucking bombed.
I spared you, dear listeners. I spared you all of that. There were a bunch of articles that I pulled about both of those places.
Yeah.
And about their readiness for such an event.
One of them was the naval base that services it doesn't anymore, but it serviced our entire...
Oh, doesn't it?
Oh, that's what they want you to think. It serviced our entire Atlantic submarine fleet, and the Air Force base is where the strategic air command base that the 501st Bombing Wing flew out of. And those were the giant like stratofortresses that would, if they were going to drop the B-83 bombs, they were loaded onto those things. And so we grew up around that shit. And there are still signs posted all over the place that say evacuation route, which is grim shit.
Yeah. I mean, if you go out to, if you drive out to Provincetown, if you're driving all the way down to the end of the Cape, you will see there are signposts on the side of the road that say evacuation route. And I always think to myself, there's literally one road in and out of here.
Oh, sure.
Where else would I go?
If the alert came and the fucking air horn started blaring, those roads were going to be choked with dead stop traffic. Nobody was getting anywhere. We were all going.
Like they're not already.
I know. I'm going to imagine that those articles about those bases were basically like their preparedness was nil.
In 83, they still would have been operative.
Well, yeah. I mean, when we moved up here, Pease was still an active strategic air command base.
Kittery, FYI, that is one of the creepiest places I've ever been in my life.
You've actually been there?
Mm-hmm. I had to deliver a wedding cake.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. It's like a little town.
Yeah, it is eerie as fuck because it is not operative. So Pease, the Air Force Base, used to be quite like that. It's mostly gone.
When it's entirely gone. But when was it in the 90s? Dad was shooting some commercials up there because the neighborhoods were still up there, and they needed to sort of like simulate a house fire in one of them. So they used one of those buildings. And so I was like fascinated by those places. And so one day I went up in there into one of those neighborhoods, and it was like debris. All the windows are broken. There's fucking.
Yeah, it's an abandoned town. My friend Laura went to, I think, like primary school there.
And there was debris like strewn all over the fucking place. It looked like a zombie movie.
Yeah.
And also I got the distinct feeling that people were watching me from those houses. And
it's
so
the same thing.
I left in a hurry.
Same thing out on the Kittery submarine base, but all of that shit is still intact because you're not allowed to go there without a reason.
Right.
And so
there's
all
guard
still
gates and shit.
built.
You can't just go there.
And so it's like you're being out there. It's like you're in this little town. It feels like being on a movie backlot.
That's wild.
Except there's nobody there.
That's crazy. I love that shit. I love it. Yeah. Good. So now we cut to flyover of the farmlands of Kansas, littered with missile silo after missile silo in the middle
America's rotten heartland.
In the middle of all these croplands and farms. We see people at work, the farmers doing their thing, cattle ranchers, milk bottling, children going about their day at school, the university, Kansas City. It's all really idyllic. Too bad it's all going to be vaporized, knocked over, set on fire, and irradiated in about 45 minutes.
Yeah, look, I think they spent about half of their $7 million on fucking B-roll and helicopter shots.
There's a lot.
A lot of sweeping camera work.
So much. There's so fucking much. At the KC Board of Trade building, we overhear news reports of Soviet armored divisions massing along the entire border between East and West Germany. East Berlin is effectively trapped behind the Iron Curtain now. An entire an East German government representative is interviewed on TV, citing the recent buildup of troops along the Iron Curtain and mass of medium-range nuclear missiles pointed along it.
In West Berlin, everything is very sexy.
So they got the best cigarettes there.
There is fun to be had for everyone.
So
can you imagine how shitty that would be? It's like the same country, and you're like, oh, come on, man. I was right there.
Yep. At the nearby university hospital, Dr. Oakes and Dr. Hichia present some x-rays to the medical school students, and then they visit with a grouchy patient. Elsewhere, a helicopter flies 4 airmen out to a launch site for their rounds. They're on the site to inspect the missile and launch equipment. They're all looking forward to an entire month off. But what's this? There's rumors of an alert that might call them back at any minute.
Oh?
Yeah. Cut to the Dahlberg farm, where young Denise and her fiancé Bruce rush out of the house to make it on time to their wedding rehearsal. They are the horniest couple in the world.
Denise is the fucking worst.
She's so bad. She is so bad. Ruth is a much better Denise.
Yeah.
So they get there, meeting the rest of their family, Father Jim, Mother Eve, little sister Jolene, who they're going to say Jolene like a bunch of times. And just
Jolene is real sassy, and she gets it. She's like, I know why you're late. You guys are fucking.
Also, little brother Danny. They're just your average American family making it happen one day at a time and fly over America.
Hard-working, delicious white people.
The airmen arrive at the silo to relieve the on-site staff, and we're introduced to the silo operations. A little room deep underground, just rattling away with computer equipment.
There's an interesting way that he films these sort of silo, to the extent that you can film any of this. A lot of this shit they had to buy.
It's super kinetic and very tight shots.
It's a lot of that, but there's every now and then there is a sort of romance to it. Like here in this particular scene, he actually he does a kind of cool transition shot from that to the obelisk. Mm-hmm. That's, I think, really interesting. But it's like there's a lot of association with these silos are being associated with sort of Americana in a very odd way that I appreciate. I think he did his best to be a little subversive and to be a little artistic.
It's a little satirical.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you can't, it's a made for TV movie. You're not going to get to go that far, but I think he does some interesting stuff here and there.
Yeah. Back in Lawrence, Dr. Oakes meets up with his daughter, who is a university student, takes him to the art museum. She's planning to move out of Lawrence to go to Boston to get her life started.
There's a moment where they're in the art museum, and she's like, well, here's why I love this painting. These are the Chinese people and the way the Chinese artists would see the world and blah, blah, blah. And Jason Robards, who's her father, is just like, oh, it's just like God's eye. And immediately she's like, ew, no.
Right.
I love that she does that. But then she's like, I'm moving to Boston. And he goes, why? And my note says, because Lawrence, Kansas. Look, I'm not a big fan of Boston either, but
when the airmen are done with their inspections, they hit the rookie road and head out for leave. Look at all this farmland. Ain't America beautiful? These amber waves of grain, the fruited plain.
yeah, ain't that America?
Little pink houses for you and me.
Yep.
Sure is going to suck when Soviet missiles just burn it all off the face of the earth forever.
It really is. It's a lot of like, America.
Ain't
the
that
heartland.
America?
It is.
Something to see.
And again, the cynic in me is just like, yeah, God, fuck this place so hard. But also there's a part of me that is sort of like, well, it is pretty.
Yeah. It's got its own thing going on. Over at the Hendry farm, the family goes out to put their laundry out to dry. They live.
This lady, she is the kind of woman who is just on the constantly on the verge of a nervous breakdown.
I don't know. Whenever we see her,
she is shattered every time.
Oh no, she's like horny and shit. And also she doesn't live very long because once the missiles.
That's true. But she just has this look on her, like every time she sees the guys going out to the missile silo, and she just looks.
She gets this kind of like.
She looks haunted.
She looks haunted when she sees, because the thing is that they live a mere 100 meters away from the actual missile silo. Like when the war starts, a missile is going to literally land on their fucking house.
Yup. And she's one of those ladies who's like. She lets her husband make a lot of decisions. She believes in the Bible.
God. She would be a fucking trad wife superstar on TikTok today.
But all of those people, there's still women and there's still people. And so it's like, you know how terrible the world is.
Yeah.
You already know that. Mm-hmm. You can pretend it's not and that everything's wholesome and great, but you've already experienced how fucking terrible the world is. That's why you look so haunted.
Right. So a thing to know about these silos. When we launch, we don't launch our entire arsenal at once. We launch them in waves, eventually launching everything, but they go off in phases. And the first strike phase of launches are some of our largest yield warheads, and they primarily target the enemy's silos and military bases and communication centers. We want to get our missiles on their launch sites before they can put theirs up. If we can catch them by surprise, the damage to the U.S. will be far less severe. That would never happen, of course, but that's the philosophy behind our first strike doctrine. Secondary and tertiary phases strike other priority targets as well, centers of industry and agriculture, and lastly, high-density population centers. It's important to note that our hypothetical enemy will also be targeting those sites as well. So when you see this nuclear missile silo literally in the backyard of this farm, a deep sense of foreboding should come over you because it's going to get fucking evaporated in a second.
Yeah.
Mother Hendry is watching the news. Talking heads are debating whether or not the U.S. is willing to end the world over Hamburg. Soviet armor is building up along the German border, meanwhile, as tensions continue to escalate. And I do like the way that they sort of tell you how this all comes to pass is like this sort of unfolds over a series of days as essentially, it's a very unlikely scenario in the way that would come out, but I think that most Americans watching this would only have East and West Germany as a sort of political point of reference to understand that that's what would spark a nuclear war.
And even then, they'd be like, Germany? Is that in China?
Yeah, we'd essentially been in a fucking stalemate in Europe since 1949. If it was going to happen, it wasn't going to fucking happen there. It's probably going to happen in the Middle East. Oakes and his wife Helen make dinner together at their home in Kansas City. Their son, a student at the university, is out of the house. He conspicuously puts a watch on his wife's wrist, which you'll want to remember for later.
And everything is just so fucking folksy and down homey. I know that's the point, but Jesus.
I know, they are just banging you over the head with this shit.
The first 45 minutes.
They're just folks. They're just innocent folks.
They're just innocent folks. There's normal folks.
Yep.
There's something about all of this that is just exposition city too.
There's an entire
45 minutes.
There's one character in this movie who serves a purpose to just deliver expository dialogue.
Yeah, like the lady in The Birds in the restaurant.
Yes.
She's like, here's how this would theoretically play out. Oh, thank God you're here.
Yep.
Dana Scully.
So yeah, they talk about the changes that are just taking place in their home. Man, the future looks bright for the Oakses. And then a special report comes on, interrupting the regular programming to report that East German army has closed their borders along the split in Germany. Armor is moving to position near the Fulda Gap, which is a key strategic location in Germany that Soviet forces could use to drive deep into West German territory and secure positions up to the Rhine River, which would put them within striking distance of France and the UK.
Oh, gasp.
Yeah. So, that happened once in 1961. It was when they were building the Berlin Wall, and we almost came to nuclear war when that happened.
And it worked out great.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they put up a wall, and
for everyone except East Germany.
Nothing bad ever happened ever again.
Nope.
Back at the Dahlberg farm, Bruce and Denise fooled around in the barn, which seems like a terrible place to fuck.
Seriously, Bruce is just like, what? Come on, God.
He would absolutely fuck at the dump.
Look, Bruce is going to die and drop out of this movie very quickly, and I, for one,
good
was very thankful because he fucking sucks.
Bruce, we hardly knew ye.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he wants to hit that shit, but she needs her diaphragm, which is in her room. So she runs to get it, hair all up in curlers, just as sexy as can be. In the house, Danny skronks away on a clarinet while Dad watches baseball. Denise looks for her diaphragm but finds it missing, and her horrible sister is holding it hostage. Chase each other around the house. More news reports fill us into the tension with the East German army closing the border. They've also cut off traffic to the airport in Berlin, which traps West Berlin residents behind the enemy line.
Oh, no.
The president has put the American military on alert and moved the DEFCON status to 2. DEFCON is a descending status code, if you're not aware. Total peacetime status is 5. DEFCON 1 is an indication that everybody is ready to fire every weapon they have. For reference, our current status is 3. Yep.
This is also, I believe, where the wife, I can't remember her name.
Eve.
Yeah, where she was just like, the so-and-sos have already left for Mexico or whatever. She's like, they even took their Vietnamese maid. And my note is, yikes. That's the 80s, folks.
Oh, boy. It would have been so topical if they were like their Cambodian maid. They rescued her from the Khmer Rouge. Can you believe it?
Pretty much. Communism.
Oh, I know. Eve negotiates a ceasefire between the girls while Dad watches the TV with a haunted look on his face. The Oakses watch the same news report, remark on how it reminds them of the Cuban Missile Crisis, which that's what this is. They're just sort of setting the Cuban Missile Crisis in Europe instead of fucking Cuba.
But that's also that's the other point of reference people would have had.
Yeah, right. If you don't know, we had missiles pointed at Russia in Turkey, and the Soviets were shipping similar range missiles to Cuba to be positioned pointed at here. And that's when we were like, hey, wait a second, you guys.
It is brinksmanship, the likes of which nobody ever wants to revisit.
We came real fucking close. Everything in the Oaks house is pretty relaxed, though. We survived the missile crisis. We'll probably survive this. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, they've got their 100-year-old dad. It's fine.
Jim Dahlberg isn't so relaxed. He steps outside to ruminate on their imminent demise and spots Denise sneaking off with Bruce on his motorcycle. Now, at the McCoy house, Airman McCoy gets his Air Force shit together so he can report for duty to address the alert. His wife is upset as hell. She has a sense for what this means and is scared, so he tries to calm her down. It's just an alert, baby. Nothing to get too worked up about.
And Airman McCoy will be my favorite character in this movie because his character is so fucking weird.
He's very likable.
He has a journey that is very strange.
It's pretty fucking weird.
It's like something out of a Jodorowsky movie.
Yep. He sends her off to stay with her mother, takes off to report to the launch site with the rest of his unit, and they all look spooked as hell in the helicopter. In the morning, it's business as usual at the Dahlberg farm. Jim and Danny just hose down the pigs, and then they get some breakfast. Oakes has some coffee at his house while his wife sleeps. He's heading out to the university to teach a class. Bruce, meanwhile, drops off Denise, who tries to slip by her dad. And then they argue and shit. And he's mostly on edge because of what's going on, and he pulls himself back from his anger.
Yeah, he's like, where have you been? And I was like, I think you know where Denise has been. I think you know.
You're sneaking in the back door.
Mm-hmm.
At the university, Oakes stops by the football field to see his son at practice. Whole team is just looking great. He talks to the coach, maybe some kids.
I think he's just a guy. I think he's just like some dumb guy watching his son play.
Yeah. I don't know. They're all about to get nuked, so it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't fucking matter.
News report that East German troops are fighting with NATO troops along the border, and some Soviet fighters have struck NATO munitions bases. Oakes and another doctor have a conversation post-surgery. So this is the guy, this character that he talks to is only in this movie to explain nuclear war shit to you.
Oh, is this Sam or this is a different guy?
He's the other sort of elderly doctor.
Okay, yeah.
So it's basically to set your expectation, because the only other wartime use of a nuclear weapon had been Japan during World War II.
Yeah.
And they want you to...
And they were like, Hiroshima was peanuts. And I said, I believe the people of Japan might disagree.
Well, here, let me give you some, let me give you a little perspective. The bomb dropped on Nagasaki was a massive gravity bomb the size of a Volkswagen bus. The weapon dropped on Hiroshima was 10 feet long, but only a couple of feet tall. Both had to be dropped from massive bomber aircraft, and both delivered an explosive yield in the 20 kiloton range. Still fucking huge. Both rendered their targets to nothing but a flat plain with the occasional hint of a ruined building. You can see post-bombing photos of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It is fucking haunting, because
I don't recommend it. It is extremely upsetting.
Nothing was left. So the current generation of warheads, by comparison, weigh about 400 pounds, and a single warhead delivers about 30 times the yield of the bombs dropped on Japan. A single ICBM carries about 6 of these and deploys them high above their target so that a single missile can strike multiple targets and deliver nearly 2.5 megatons of destruction. For reference...
Now that one didn't happen, but I will say, with regard to the one that did happen, if you need to feel a little bit better, the parts for that bomb, or one of the first bomb, were delivered by the USS Indianapolis.
Yep.
And about 3/4 of them were eaten by sharks. Literally.
It's a high cost.
So at least there's that.
Yeah. So for reference, a single W-87 warhead detonated in the middle of New York would literally vaporize Midtown. The expanding pressure wave would bulldoze everything from Harlem to the Bowery and set fire to everything from the top of the Bronx to the bottom of the island. Buildings in Jersey City and Brooklyn would be knocked over, and everybody as far as inland as Rutherford, New Jersey, and Queens would be ducking flying broken glass.
Can you dig it?
Just one would do that, and probably several would land on that area. Back at the hospital.
I'm fine with that. I don't like it.
New York's all right. New York's all right if you like saxophones.
Yeah.
Back at the hospital, Oakes tries to call home, but he gets no answer as the radio informs everybody that Moscow is being evacuated. No one.
I think this is the part where Sam goes, "Where does one go from Kansas City?" And I wrote, "I don't know, fucking anywhere."
Right. No one is evacuating Lawrence, Kansas, though. Dr. Hachia talks to Nurse Nancy, who informs him that most of the hospital staff is basically taken off. I don't fucking blame them. But
I hate this character.
What, Nurse Nancy?
No.
Dr.
Sam,
Hachia?
Dr. Hachia. Yeah. I hate him. He sucks.
He's a terrible actor, first of all.
He's a very bad actor. And I feel like what they wanted was the guy who plays Quincy's assistant on Quincy ME.
Okay.
Because I feel like he's very much modeled on that character.
Okay.
He's this kind of like no nonsense, like he's a little bit the sidekick to Quincy. And I think that's kind of what they're going for. But in this, the guy's not a good actor, and he plays it like a fucking dick the whole time.
Yeah, he really does.
And so when he does try to be like a little bit later on, he's going to like try to be nice in a way that's like, this feels so inauthentic and weird at this point. I don't like what you're doing.
I know. Also, this would be a terrible time for a nuclear attack on the city. Elsewhere in the hospital, Hachia is doing physicals on med students. Just a bunch of dudes hanging out in their underwear.
And what he says is, unfortunately, most of them are male. Gross, man. You're a doctor.
I know.
This is why Rose Nyland is getting sexually assaulted by her dentist in the Golden Girls, and her response is, "I'm never going back there again."
You can make a Golden Girls reference for anything.
Why not?
He talks to pre-med student Steve Klein, who will be important later. Nurse Nancy, meanwhile, sees to a maternity patient whose baby is almost ready to pop. Its timing couldn't possibly be any worse.
Is she, by any chance, going to be the dove of peace?
No, because when the baby is finally born, she looks incredibly sad.
But let's be honest, we'll save it. We'll save it.
Okay.
I got a lot of thoughts
Bruce
about
reports-
that baby.
Okay, Bruce reports to the student center to sign up for classes. The news reports that Soviet troops have driven into the Fulda Gap and have effectively invaded West Germany.
I can't remember if it's Bruce or his friend that he's with or talking to, but he's like, I just need one metallurgy credit to graduate. I was like, what the fuck school is this where you need a metallurgy class?
They got a metallurgy. They got a basket weaving class.
What is this, Hogwarts?
It's such a weird thing, yeah. The news is speculating that NATO is considering using tactical nukes, which are smaller missiles and artillery shells that deliver yields similar to the bombs dropped on Japan. Steve, meanwhile, hitches a ride out of the city while Bruce gets a haircut. Chatter at the barbershop is all about the war.
My favorite character, I forgot to bring her up, that she's the sort of like leftist dyke that's in the like the student center with them. She's got like the sweater on.
Yeah.
I love her. She's my favorite.
You gotta have them. You gotta have them. It's a university, man. They all get indoctrinated, and they all turn into, and all the women there will turn into lesbians.
I love her. She will come back later, and she's great.
Yep. So Joe Huxley, a science teacher at the university, tries to be realistic about what's happening. The other dudes all scoff at the idea that we're going to war over Germany. Let's see. The last time I watched Threads was when Russia invaded Ukraine. And the big question that everybody asked is he going to end the world over Kyiv?
I mean, of all places.
Gotta have it. Gotta have access to the Black Sea, man.
I mean, no disrespect to Ukraine, but dear God, that's John Lithgow, right?
Yes, he's Huxley. I love his character.
And this is the barbershop where he's sitting there and he's like flipping through the newspaper and shit. And there's a great moment here because they're all like, they're kind of like bantering, and I've never been to a barbershop. I don't know what the fuck goes on there, but I
you
assume
get your haircut.
It's like dudes being dudes being dudes being dudes is what I assume it is.
Yeah, you're away from the ladies. You can really speak your mind at the barbershop.
Yeah, and so he's like, they're all like, what's the reality? Are they really going to do this? Who knows? They would never be so crazy. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
And then John Lithgow says, like there's something like they're going to send their thing to hit the bullseye. And John Lithgow says, that's an awful lot of bullseyes. And right after he says that, all the conversation in the barbershop comes to this grinding halt. And this is another one of those moments where I was like, very effective. Very good direction.
Because they're all like, this is the middle of fucking nowhere. This is Kansas. And he's like, yeah, where all the silos are. They're going to bomb every one of those. And then they're like, oh.
Yeah, it's almost like all the audio drops out, but it's really just he brings the conversation to this grinding halt. It's a really cool, very effective moment in the movie. In a movie that doesn't have a lot of effective moments.
And then there's another sort of ham-fisted sort of exposition where one of the guys, I believe it's actually played by Meyer, he talks about launch on warning, which is a fucking strategy that one side issues to the other that they're going to launch their missiles if they think, not know that the other side is going to launch theirs. Supposed to be a fucking deterrent of under the sort of doctrine of mutually assured destruction, but critics of the strategy point out that it just kind of sounds like provocation.
Yeah, that's 100% what it is.
Yep. So Oakes gets caught in highway traffic as people flee the city. The radio informs us that a nuclear weapon was deployed in Germany. And Jim and Dave,
I actually do like this moment a lot. This sort of, it becomes a little bit of a montage.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Of everybody.
He also, the cuts get faster.
Yeah, I think he does a good job here because it has this, it's a bit of a surreal moment in that like everybody's sort of rushing around trying to do, like, I imagine this is what people would actually do in this. Like, you're trying to do whatever you can to feel like you're being productive.
I was going to say you're trying to exert control over something because you are fucking afloat in this situation.
Like they show the farmer and his son are like, putting like packing dirt along the sides of the church, essentially to like block out, I don't know, to presumably block. You can't block out radiation.
They don't want they want to block out any sort of radiation from fallout. Also prevent the windows from breaking.
Yeah, and so like, but then like they cut to the grocery store, and it's like it's given real like April 2020 vibes. Like everyone's just grabbing shit. It's like a Cabbage Patch release at midnight.
Yep, can't get your Cabbage Patch. They're all out of fucking toilet paper.
Yeah, it's a real like I like the way that it is like people going nuts. It felt realistic in a movie that really is basically a filmic equivalent of hand wringing. There are moments where it's like, yeah, this is probably what it would really be like. And they're rare. And I think that's what triggers the guy who ends up making Threads. Is he was like, no, man, fuck you. This is being real sentimental. This is what it would really be like because people are fucking monsters.
Jim and Danny, meanwhile, help out at the church, piling up dirt around the windows. Priest sends them home so he can tend to his own shit. Everybody's just bracing it because they know what's about to happen. Bruce drops into a grocery store where everybody is panic buying everything, just scooping everything off the shelves and into their carts. He waits in line with his Sunny D while the guy in front of him obsessively listens to the radio.
Nobody had purple stuff.
No purple stuff. You got to go with the fucking Sunny D.
Oh, Sunny D.
Yeah. The Soviets and NATO ships are exchanging fire in the Persian Gulf, and then Bruce just abandons the Sunny D and rides off.
What I think is interesting too is I think this movie is extremely dated for so many different reasons, but the thing I think that makes it feel most dated is all the hitchhiking.
Oh shit, I know, because like the Goots is gonna go hitchhiking. Not the last one we're gonna see.
And again, if you listen to the show, you have a vague understanding of what I do for a living. I will tell you right now, people be getting murdered out there. Hitchhiking.
At least a dozen of those people hitchhiking to get away from the nuclear war were murdered by serial killers.
Yeah, just left in pieces.
The lucky ones were the first to die.
Yep.
At the Hendry farm, the adults are getting ready for lunch, seemingly oblivious to what's happening around them. They sneak off to go fuck upstairs while the kids watch cartoons. And the cartoons are interrupted by a news report about airburst nukes that were detonated over the Soviet armor to bring a stop to their advance.
And thank God she didn't see that because she is already a haunted woman. This would just make everything worse. Nope. You will get one more look from her before she goes.
The one out the window?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is also where...
You have to speak up. I'm wearing a towel.
I think this is also where, I can't remember whether it's not in this scene, it might be the next scene, where someone's like, we should unplug all our radio and TV and stuff. And it was like, yep, that ought to keep you safe.
Okay, so what it would do is it would protect them from the EMP burst that's coming, but nobody's going to be broadcasting shit after this.
I feel like that's the least of your worries.
I know.
So they'd be like, I don't want to get a shock.
No, at nearby Whiteman Air Force Base, the Strategic Air Command dudes just pile into their planes and take to the sky in preparation for war. Soviet nukes are hitting NATO targets in Europe. SAC personnel go through the procedures for the nuclear readiness, and then they watch the scopes for incoming missiles.
And what we get here,
this is actually footage from another movie.
Oh, I thought they bought this. So there is a significant portion of these shots that they bought from the government.
No, they bought the detonation footage, and
right.
A lot of from the Operation, the Operation Castle, the Operation Ivy tests and stuff. All of this Strategic Air Command footage is from a movie from I think 1979 called First Strike.
Yes, so that's the interesting thing about this is not the first movie to do this. To do this kind of framing of like this is probably what would happen. This is probably the most effective one.
Yeah. But Operation Castle, not Operation Mike. I
think what's interesting here is that all of these shots, so we got the military people running around, scurrying around, getting into their planes. You see the big stealth bomber, which, all the kids in 1983 would have been like, yeah.
Oh, that gigantic command plane that takes off.
And then but he's intercutting a lot of this stuff with shots of bucolic America.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's
what it is it's take one last look.
And I don't know how I feel about it, because on one hand, I think it can read as a little satirical, in which case it's I don't know if you're being tacky. I can't decide. But if it's not, it also then comes across as a little bit too sentimental. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of this movie that I think is a little overly sentimental.
I do think he's trying to be a little lyrical with this.
Okay. But then I buy that. I like it a little bit. I think he's constrained by the genre and the format a little too much to do that effectively.
Yeah.
Which is probably why it then maybe comes across a little bit sentimental instead.
Yeah.
Because he can't carry it to where it needs to go to have that punch. But whatever.
Yeah.
He did the best he could.
He did the best. He's a feature film director working in in television.
Yeah. I mean, he is the Curtis Harrington of his era. My sweet Curtis Harrington.
Man, Curtis Harrington made a fucking nuclear apocalypse movie.
I'm surprised he didn't. He made a satanic dog demon movie.
Have Shelley Winters like freaking out as the missiles launch.
I'm surprised that they didn't. You know what? That's probably what this. At a certain point, they were really committed to this idea of like, no big name actors. Like, you blew it already. You may as well have hauled them all in. You could have gotten your Charlton Heston's. You could have gotten your Shelley Winters.
Oh, Heston would have been so opposed to
Oh,
this.
yeah, he would. He would have been like, you pinko faggots.
Yeah. So Danny fills milk jugs with water while Jim readies the family for war. Eve is just in denial, continues to prepare for the wedding tomorrow. She is understandably delusional.
She is hysterical.
When she has her breakdown, that is a moment that kind of chills me.
Really? I thought it was a little cheesy.
Yeah. Steve gets dropped off as his ride is heading in a different direction. He continues on foot, which is less than ideal given the circumstances.
Hey, it's not going to hurt you to walk a little bit, everybody. All right?
Get your steps in.
Get out there. Take a fucking walk. Get off your dumbass scooters.
Yep. All is quiet. Nothing moves. The tension is unbearable. The SAC planes receive the codes from the president, relay the commands to the rest of the force. The silos get ready to turn, and they turn the keys, and the missiles launch. The Hendry farm rattles as the nearby rockets take off. The kids are looking up the sky like, what?
And the look on the kid's face is precious. It is priceless. I love it so much. He's slack-jawed, big-eyed.
His jaw is on the ground.
And
so
there's mom upstairs in the bedroom, all freshly fucked and relaxed, and she's combing her hair and whatever. There's a fucking missile going off right next to her head. Ain't that America?
Yep. All these pig houses are just about to get fucking reduced to ash and flung into the air. Montage of missile launches. The public takes notice. Denise stumbles down the stairs with her teddy bear and wedding dress, just looking shocked.
Denise, God damn it. Get it together.
She is not doing well. Eve is upstairs making the beds. Jim argues with her to get to the basement, but she shoves him off, and he has to physically carry her down as she breaks down sobbing.
And this was her moment to shine. And God damn it, does she shine.
So when they shot this, they sent the footage to the lab to be processed, and the lab fucked it up, so they had to shoot it again. And he was like, I couldn't fucking believe that I had to go back to this woman and have her do this again, because he was like, her first performance of this was like a fucking gift. And then she delivers it like verbatim again. So like, yeah, they got it. I think it's a moment for me.
You were really feeling this movie.
I was.
You were living in it. I saw your Letterboxd score and I was like, no.
Yeah. I'm vibing with this movie.
Because if you haven't seen it, this movie is extremely melodramatic in a way that you would not see these days. Yeah. That is not. I think it's not. It's not ineffective, but like, some of the acting's not good in this. Like, not. You know
what? The thing is it evokes a feeling in me that I sort of let the more sort of objective qualities of the movie just slide. Yeah. So McCoy arrives at the silo for duty with the rest of the airmen. Nobody knows what to do. Communications are down. Listening posts on the coasts have been hit. No one knows what to do. So McCoy goes to leave, and the others threaten to shoot him for desertion.
And that's what I love about McCoy. He's just like, fuck, I'm not going to work. What are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
The world is about to blow up. I'm going home.
The fucking missiles launched. The war's over, man. This shit is going down. I'm going home, motherfuckers.
Yeah, he's like, I'm playing Elder Scrolls. They just re-released that remastered version. I'm not even done with the game. I'm not going to work.
Yeah. They realize that they have a few minutes to live before Soviet missiles hit their location. So they descend into the silo where they will probably be obliterated. McCoy,
this is the moment that felt to me the most Fallout-y, and by Fallout-y, I mean the game.
Because he dumps them in the vault.
Well, if y'all have not played Fallout as the game,
you should.
It is my all-time favorite intellectual property. It's my favorite series of video games. But there are lots of little touches where you'll like go down into a little vault and there will be people like outside of the vault. Like they've crawled down into the little tunnel that leads to where the vault door is. And they're like outside of the vault with little signs that say like, let us in, you're killing us.
Yeah.
That's what I envisioned when this part, I was like, these dudes that are like, well, I can make it to the door and that's got to be good enough. And it's like, no, man.
They're going to get down there and they're going to find that the sort of door to the inner command center is shut and locked and like locked hard. And it's like a very heavy door because like missile silos.
You need a Pip-Boy to open that.
Yes, you do. Missile silos are deliberately built in a way to sort of like withstand this blast because they are definitely going to get fucking hit.
Also, they're not going to withstand the blast. Nothing will. That's the point of this movie.
Right, but they think it's going to work. But anyways, even if they did, the guys in the command center are going to basically suffocate immediately when all of the oxygen is sucked up into the explosion,
or when all of the dirt just caves in around them.
Yeah. So let's see, where was I? He takes off. McCoy. He heads for home in an Air Force truck. Now, the entire student body of the university watches the missiles launch. Huxley informs them that this is happening. They'll hit their targets in 30 minutes. The air horns go off, and all of Kansas City just runs in terror for the shelters. That lady is going to die in that ridiculous blue pantsuit.
Hey, that's my favorite character you're talking about. Okay, easy.
You see her emerge at one point when the fireball happens, and it's like, yep, told you.
So one of the things I read was the ones that were like, how do we explain to teenagers what's happening? It's like, well, you think teenagers are stupid, so I don't know what you can say. But one of them is this guy who watches it with his daughter. And they have like a sort of like, they must have recorded the whole thing because they have this running commentary in this.
Weird. Okay.
This is, I think, Boston Globe I was reading it in. And she's asking questions the whole time. And the last question she asks is, before they end the article, and of course this thing is very heavily edited, but the last question she asks is, well, how much time would it take for the Russian missiles to get here? And the father says, will take about 30 minutes. And her response is, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so fucking dark.
Yep.
Like, I'm making light of this. It was, in fact, very between this and the AIDS crisis, the 80s was a fucking nightmare for children.
It was pretty awful.
And also kidnapping was really hot in the 80s. So like, you just couldn't, you're getting it one way or the other.
Yeah. There's panic everywhere. There's teeming mobs in the streets, highways packed. The first bombs hit, air bursts detonate over the city. These are weapons that are not meant to actually hit a target directly, but they detonate miles overhead, and they release a massive burst of electromagnetic radiation, which overloads basically all unshielded electronics and destroys them.
Okay, so here I think is maybe where they go a little bit kooky, wonky wrong, is they do the whole like finger in the light socket electrified skeleton thing, and it's like, all right, this looks a little
Here's
goofy.
the thing. I think about that too, because I at first I was like, this is a little silly, but they need to find a way to illustrate that you're just gone. But they needed to find a way to sort of make that visual, because that's a really strange concept to try to film.
I think there's a better way to do it. I don't know if there's a better way to do it for television in a way that's not truly haunting. Like, I think that you do it the way, what happened in Hiroshima or Nagasaki is they were vaporized, but their shadows are still left on the wall. Like, that's truly haunting.
Yeah.
And that is actually what actually happens, is that like you leave an outline, but you are gone completely. And they do that to a certain extent in this. There are moments where you see blackened bodies.
So that's a different effect. That's not like what would happen with the sort of the shadows, the outlines. That's an effect of the ionizing radiation explode, like that sort of bursts out of the bomb. The blackened bodies that we see are people who sort of get cooked in the flash wave. And delicious. What happens is it's so hot, so fast that you are just carbonized. Your body doesn't have a chance to sort of like blister or peel or crack. You are just sort of reduced to a sort of brittle statue of ash.
Yeah, it's like one of those really expensive pizza ovens you can get for your backyard. They're like 700, 900 degrees. It's like that. I think
it's exactly like that.
I think the problem is that what I want from him is not something they can do either technologically or within the bounds of censorship.
When you find out like what they were doing to achieve the special effects that they did, like it was a very lo-fi way to sort of pull it off. And even the sort of way that they kind of visualize the fireball is a little corny. It gets the job done. We're going to see when we go back to this well next week, it is way more effective, probably shot on even less money.
So here I think is another part of the problem is that we are living in a time where what they're going to do is the bomb will go off. And, the first one will hit and we'll get the big mushroom cloud, and they're going to run a kind of a montage that the time they probably didn't realize was a montage. It's footage that we now in the present have seen repeatedly.
Yeah,
we've seen all this footage.
It's all test
before.
footage.
It's test footage. We've seen it before.
From like the Bikini Atoll and the Los Alamos, Alamogordo. It's
all very, very famous at this point. But in 1983, it wasn't. They hadn't seen it yet. Well, some people had, but like it'd been used in cartoons and shit. But like they had not seen it in this context, and so I think it was probably. I don't know about the vaporized skeletons part. I think that still looks a little Roger Rabbit-y.
Yeah.
But I think I'm looking at it from the present, and I think if I put myself in that moment, it probably would have been. That probably would have been a little cartoony, but the other stuff would have been very terrifying because you do see buildings getting blown away, people getting just like devastated. Like it is frightening. To us, it's not because we've seen it in so many different contexts by this point. We've seen this shit in like commercials, you know, like Baby Ruth commercials, like shit like that. Like we're so desensitized to it. And so I think I'm looking at it being like, I don't know about this, but I think if I put myself there, that part probably would have been a little frightening. The finger in the light socket, less so. I just don't know how you do it.
The lights now go out in the city. Bruce's bike stops. Dr. Oates' cars die on the highway.
700 people in Gloucester shit their pants collectively.
McCoy's truck ceases to function. Everybody gets out to walk. Stupid fucking move. The first missiles strike the city and nearby silos, sending up 2 massive mushroom clouds. Everybody outside is erased from existence in a flash. Those not at the direct target site are set on fire.
And I think they do this part pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Hendrys, mere feet from one of the silos, are blown away in the fireball. The city collapses. Everything in the blast wave is set on fire or knocked over. Jim and Danny run for cover.
The Hendrys, those slack-jawed yokels.
Danny turns and looks directly at the blast, and the flash burns his irises in an instant, just blinding him.
Look, I don't want to judge this family, but they seem real fucking stupid. One of them's looking directly into the nuclear blast. The other one is just a shattered lady holding her wedding dress and a teddy bear.
For 5 minutes, we watched the entire world end. So now Oakes took cover in his car and survived the blast, which sounds ridiculous, but in actuality, it's actually kind of how this shit works.
Yeah, it's like when, what's his face? Indiana Jones under the refrigerator.
Right. Like he's far enough so that the flash wave doesn't burn him. The pressure wave doesn't knock the car over or anything like that. All he needs to do is just duck the radiation, which is just kind of a short effect.
I mean, but also in reality, the radioactivity in the air is insane at that point. It will take months. It's going to take a couple hours for the fallout to arrive. And so until that happens, you're reasonably safe, but you don't have much time to get to cover. And even then, you're still going to end up breathing that shit. Again, let's remember the point of this movie is no matter what you do, you're fucked.
Yep. So when it's all over, we see what remains. Lawrence lies in ruin. It looks like winter as ash falls on everything. The bodies that weren't immediately vaporized lie in the ruins, reduced to carbonized husks. The Dahlbergs turn on the lights.
Looks real cool.
Yeah. With a battery, and they take in the silence. Outside, they can hear the dog barking, and Jim has to deliver the bad news that poor old Rusty is unfortunately on his own.
Now, my note says, I'd trade one of these 2 awful girls for Rusty. Probably the younger one, because she fucking sucks. Honestly, I'd trade them both for Rusty. I'd trade the whole fucking family for Rusty at this point.
Yeah, you gotta have your own little dog mate.
Yes.
So in Lawrence,
you gotta get the puppies perk though, because if you don't get the puppies perk, then dog meat can die, and then you're gonna feel even worse.
In Lawrence, Oakes wanders the street, ash just raining down on everything.
That one was a shout out for my nerds.
The stunned survivors stagger all over the place. The students at the sciences building at the university set up radios and antenna to try and see who they can reach out on the shortwave. And then they power up a Geiger counter and track the radiation. And the count rises as the fallout arrives. Oakes arrives at the hospital, finding it in the dark and everybody just wandering all over the place in a daze. It's more chaos. The staff's trying to move people into the lower levels to get people away from the fallout. So we hear the term fallout a lot. Great series of video games.
I've heard that. It's good.
Named after. Fallout is the term for all of the radioactive dust that was thrown up into the atmosphere when the missiles detonated. Tons and tons of this shit is going to blow around in the atmosphere. The initial burst of ionizing radiation dissipates fairly quickly after the explosion, but the dust fuses with the fissile materials in the warheads. It carries the isotopes around. The air becomes radioactive in a sense. If you breathe the ash, you're dead. If it gets on you, you're dead.
If that sounds like gibberish, what goes up must come down.
Yeah. If you're near the fallout for long enough, you're fucking dead. Stage 4 lymphoma in a couple of weeks. And even the most brief exposure, sustained exposure, will subject you to radiation poisoning, which we'll get to eventually.
Unless you have some Radaway.
True. You got to have that shit handy, man. And always carry bottle caps. You never know when you're going to need them.
Right.
Everyone at the hospital wants to know what happened out there. They want specifics. The hospital administrator is in a panicked mess, and he is, boy, that guy survives way too long.
Yeah, he's not very useful in this film. See, that's the problem, is the less useful people. I'd be like trading people for dogs. I'd be like, bring me old people for new dogs. Bring me your dogs. And then you get this jack off who's just like, I don't know what to do. Yeah. Nobody knows what to do. You save the dogs, you sacrifice the people. Come on.
He has no idea how to manage the current hospital load with a quarter of the staff available and the inevitable wave of the injured arriving soon. Out on the highway, McCoy emerges from cover in the back of an overturned 18-wheeler.
Just throws a blanket over his head and
takes a deep old breath of that radioactive dust and wanders off into the wastes.
He just wraps himself in a Nana's quilt and heads out on the road.
Oakes gives this
is the part of the movie where I was like, all right, I'm in.
Well, once this shit happens, it kicks into high gear.
I like his character because he's so fucking weird.
He's so friendly, and he really does keep up his spirits for a while in spite of what is happening around him.
He ends up with a traveling companion who is basically Charles Manson, but doesn't talk.
Oakes gives a speech at the hospital trying to get everything under control, lets everybody know that they need to work together. It seems to chill people out a bit.
This is also where we get the huge exposition dump.
About where the EMP. Yeah,
the doctors are just trading facts about nuclear fallout.
Yeah, and then they take stock of their available materials and make plans for how they're going to operate without electricity. In short, it's going to fucking suck. At the Dahlberg house, they can
I think this is the part where the one woman is like, "You can't burn wood that's been exposed."
Yeah, she's like, "Just put radiation back."
I feel like we should all be taking notes at this point.
It's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah.
So Jim readies the shotgun as the door opens, and it's Steve. Jim wants to turn him out, but they come to an agreement. He comes down, dropping his food down the steps. And then
Steve Gutenberg, the last man on Earth.
Yeah. He notices Danny's condition. Being a pre-made student, announces what happened to him.
Pre-made.
I know.
Pre-made Gutenberg. You just heat and serve.
Yeah. I keep a couple in the freezer, At the hospital, Oakes sees the victims of flying glass under the collection of flashlights. If you're on the outskirts of one of these attacks, not close enough to the blast to be burned, the greatest threat is broken flying glass just going all over the place. If you're indoors, the pressure wave is going to make sure that every window around you explodes inward.
My question is, what happens to Canada?
So I've actually got some notes coming up because it's funny that you ask. The rest of the hospital staff does triage on new arrivals. People with radiation burns are starting to turn up. Oakes wonders who has been spared in the attack, musing New York, Paris, Moscow? Absolutely not, good sir. Those cities are nothing but smoking craters now. Mm-hmm. It's entirely likely that most of New York City is underwater.
Cool.
In reality, about half of the world would be unaffected by the attacks.
Nice.
Low population density or places that are too remote to be strategically important to nuclear attacks would likely be fine. Wow. Northern Canada, for instance.
Okay.
The interior of Australia and the African continent. A lot of Southeast Asia would largely be unaffected, but fallout would very likely drift out to those spots, and the sudden interruption of commerce and industry would subject them to famine in a hurry. So, yeah, no survivors.
All right, but I could still go to the Northern Territories.
Got to go to the Northwest Territories where you can survive for maybe about a month. McCoy wanders into Lawrence, stepping over the bodies to look for supplies, carefully navigates the terrain, avoiding the people shooting looters, gathers up some candy bars and just hits the road.
Delicious.
Baby Ruth. Huxley and the students work the radio looking for anybody else. They make contact with Oakes at the hospital. He lets them know that the fallout is way worse than he was expecting it to be. Huxley reports that the radiation needs to be under 2 rads an hour for it to be safe enough to go outside for just a little while. It's holding tight at 50, though. It'll probably take a couple of weeks for the isotopes to decay enough to hit reasonably safe levels.
I think maybe one of the problems, too, is that we don't get a good sense of the
passage of time.
Yeah, that's it's a tricky thing. Unfortunately, the only way you can really do that is like lower third, day 1, day 2, day 3 bullshit. But like, yeah. I think it would have helped. Just so you know.
That's what Threads does.
Yep.
Yeah. So Oakes and Nurse Nancy crack some jokes until he's reminded that his wife was in Kansas City, and a look of terrible sadness comes over him.
Nurse Nancy, goddamn, Jo Beth Williams is a fucking treasure.
She really is, man. As soon as she came in, I was like, fucking hey, Jo Beth Williams is in this.
She's great. I think this is the part too where they're like chatting and like making little jokes, and then they see a cockroach.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, cockroach. It's like the old joke, the thing about cockroaches and Cher. And then a woman just starts fucking shrieking.
Right. Yeah. Cockroaches, by the way, impervious to ionizing radiation. We will all eventually wither away under tumors and radiation sickness, but they will remain.
They're disgusting.
They're fucking the vilest things I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
The flashlights, the Dahlbergs go out. Denise starts to crack up. She starts screaming, losing her shit.
I could tell the moment I saw her, I knew Denise would be bad in a crisis. She's got those vacant eyes.
She's the weak link.
She is. You just gotta let her go.
Starts screaming, losing her shit, runs up and out of the house.
Nobody slaps her in the face. Nobody does it.
No. Steve chases her out to try to talk her back in. They kick around in that radioactive just dooming the shit out of themselves. She is convinced that it's all fine in spite of all the dead animals laying around. And then they run around just kicking up dust while he explains that no matter what you think, the radiation is out there, killing them the longer they stay out there. It is tearing them apart at the cellular level.
Let this girl die. You gotta let this girl die.
She is going to bring you all down. And then they run back in and she kind of chills out a little.
I think what drives me crazy about her is that she plays this character. There's no consistency in how she's doing it. Like, she starts out playing her sort of normal, like she's just sort of like a normal younger girl.
And then she cracks up immediately.
And she's like also a little dopey and stupid. And you're like, I don't know what to make of you. You seem like dead fucking weight to me, though.
Don't want you in my party.
No.
McCoy eventually runs into some survivors just staggering along the road. They're all in shock, just shambling along like zombies.
Look, I can go back. You can get a Deathclaw in robes. You can get one in your party. That is a companion. You ditch Denise, get the Deathclaw.
Yeah. And then a large crowd of screaming wounded survivors is forming outside of the hospital. They're running out of space inside the hospital for the dead, and if they don't dispose of them soon, there will be an outbreak of cholera. There's also rumors along the road that people, whatever is left of civic authorities, is just shooting people out in the ruins for any infraction.
Oh, kind of like we'll call them ICE, for lack of a better term.
McCoy, meanwhile, comes upon a line of people at a water pump. A weird dude frantically tries to rush the pump, and everybody keeps throwing him back. McCoy tries to calm him down. This dude is frantic.
I love him. This fucking weird Okie in like his fucking drug rug. I love him.
Yeah. Eventually, a dude with a gun chills the crowd out, and McCoy's weirdo friend hits the pump, just taking a long pull off of what is definitely irradiated water.
Mm-hmm.
And then they walk off together, eventually finding a camp of survivors. McCoy is beginning to feel the effects of the radiation poisoning, and his hair is starting to fall out, and he's losing his teeth.
And he hands his new traveling companion, the Okie, a baby Ruth. And the man eats the wrapper, too. He eats the wrapper and the candy bar.
He's just crazed with hunger.
He is committed to the bit.
Yeah. Oaks and the pregnant lady now talk about her pregnancy. The baby is late, and she's not exactly looking forward to bring new life into this horror.
I'm going to tell you what, Amy Madigan's speech in this moment is probably the best part of the movie.
It's great. She's fantastic in this. Yeah. Denise continues to crack the fuck up at the Dahlberg farm. She imagines that she sees Bruce in the basement and leans in to kiss him, but it's really just Steve sleeping.
She's got that dopey look on her face.
Can't resist the goots.
Well, I understand.
Could you?
Nope.
Goots in 1983? Handsome fella.
Thought he was a DJ just a couple years earlier. Nope.
It's about to wear that police uniform.
Nah.
He realizes that they've lost everything up top, and their usual sources for food and milk are radiated poison now. At the hospital, the administrator announces that the radiation levels outside have lowered to a reasonably safe level. You can go outside for a little while, and it begins to move people to other buildings on the hospital campus. In town, the Dahlbergs hear someone ringing the church bell with a rock, and they leave the basement for the first time, finding some dude's corpse leaning against the door.
It's kind of a great moment, actually.
It's a pretty intense moment.
I feel like what I liked about it is that it feels a little bit like, you have ever read The Stand?
Yeah.
And in The Stand, he does a lot of, there's like a, in Stephen King fandom, there's like a name for it. I can't remember what it's called, but like, it's all that sort of roving camera shit he does where it's just like, here's little vignettes of what's happening. That scene feels very Stephen Kingian to me, where like, there's just a dead guy up against their door.
Yeah. Yeah. Denise, meanwhile, is looking horrible. Her face is drawn and her hair is thinning. She's beginning to basically bleed from between her legs as the radiation poison tears her apart from the inside out. They load her up on the horse-drawn cart so Steve can ride them into Lawrence, the hospital where she can hopefully be treated along with Danny.
It has a very Oregon Trail vibe to it.
They get on a horse-drawn cart.
I think at this point, I don't know if the movie goes off the rails, because this is kind of where the movie gets interesting, but at the same time, it does feel, I think one of the critics referred to it as like a post-apocalyptic Western, and it very much feels like that.
Well, yeah, because I mean, the level of technology is like immediately reduced to like frontier America levels. And so like, it just kind of fits, I suppose.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Fatal radiation poisoning is fucking horrible.
Yeah. I mean, fatal anything is probably pretty bad.
When it happens, it comes in 3 stages. The first stage feels like the worst flu you've ever had.
Okay.
Sore joints. You're hot, you're cold.
You're just describing my daily life at this point.
No appetite, can't keep anything down. You're dehydrated, you're fucking tired. And then the second wave happens when you feel like you're recovering. It's fine for about, a couple of days. And then organ linings start to break down. You start to bleed from every orifice. Your skin cells fail and your body, you turn into a zombie, essentially.
Cool,
This movie does an okay job of it.
I don't think they do.
If you want to see what it really looks like, the Chernobyl series that HBO does is like spot on. And it's horrifying.
I don't think they do a good job in this. I think these people look like they have burns.
Well, yeah. I mean,
and again,
it's just like you just like develop running sores all over your body.
But like they're bound by 83 TV standards. And I think that's part of the problem. But like, you want to be like, I'm trying to deliver this real harsh message. I feel like the movie, maybe the problem for me is the movie doesn't live up to the hype of the movie. It's set.
It's a fucking made for TV movie. And there is a certain, the bar is just so much lower.
I also would like to say, I've seen this movie like 10 fucking times. Like, this is not my first time watching this. I've seen it a lot, but I think there's all this hysteria. And when you consider the film in the context of the hysteria, it just doesn't match. And it's what people are responding to is not the movie. They're responding to something else. And I think that's what I think is so interesting about the story in general is this movie is not a good movie. It's boring. It's slow. You don't see much. The action is sort of sparse. It's paced terribly. And it has the cheesiest fucking ending. It's everything that happens around the story is so interesting. And it's
the ending is cheesy?
Yes, I think the ending's very cheesy.
Huh, okay. But yeah, no. This
the
movie
ending
was,
is the
was
ending of the Grapes of Wrath, essentially.
It was confirming everybody's worst fears.
But it's also it's the battle, but it's the battle of ideology too. It's this idea of like, you're weak for wanting to do this. You're giving into the Soviets, and the other side is saying you're fucking crazy for trying to end the world. And I think we all know which of those is right. I hope we all know which of those is right. But that's the part that everyone is responding to. They're all responding to essentially the world we live in now. It's the beginning of where we are now. It's this idea of like, no, you're wrong because you hate America.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's interesting, and that's what they're reacting to, because the movie itself is so benign. It's just this kind of plotting story.
I disagree. It's got a lot of problems. I think that it is a major accomplishment for a made-for-TV movie.
Sure, I mean they had a decent amount of money.
It stirs something terrible inside of me when I watch it.
But it stirs something terrible inside of you because you were of an age when it was supposed to. You're reacting to the hysteria around it. You're not reacting to this movie. Or if you are, then
it's the subject matter. It's like I said earlier. It's the subject matter that evokes something terrible in me.
You're responding to what was happening at the time. This movie is a bland post-apocalyptic movie. I have seen Italian movies that deal with the subject better than this does. Like, it's just a slow plotting melodrama of the shit that we would kind of expect at this point. And I think that's what's like, it's not interesting to me. But I think all the shit around it is super interesting.
Yeah. So back to the story. So Steve and Danny and Denise take off for the hospital. Jim, Eve, and Jolene stay behind.
Thank God.
Yep. At the hospital, well, it's not going to go so well for them. At
Fucking
the hospital,
Jolene.
the grounds outside are choked with survivors, and the hospital staff is starting to fall apart. Oates has been going around the clock since the bombs.
And at one point, the doctor, the Asian guy, I can't remember his name, says to him, "You're wanted in surgery. You're 5 minutes late." And I was like, late? Late for what? Do you have a schedule?
Yeah, apparently.
You're wanted in surgery.
Yeah. The science building receives broadcast to the nation from the president, who informs them of how bad the damage to the nation is. And then the fucking asshole assures them that they haven't lost the war.
I think that might be the most
matters.
That might be the most offensive part of this entire movie. Either that or the part where they all go to church and the guy's like, "Thank God for blah blah blah." But like, if this all happened to me and you said that, I would slap you in the fucking face.
That shit is irony, man. Come on, you're taking it literally.
No. I mean, I appreciate what he's doing in the movie.
Okay.
But like this idea that like people would even bother returning to church.
Okay. I misunderstood you. I thought you were like,
no,
this was the message they were trying to get across.
No, but I do think that because
that is the point. Like when the president is like, democracy will win, we will rebuild, everything's gonna be fine, and then fucking Stephen First is like, "You fucking kidding me?" That's the message you wanted to send.
I do want. Have you played Fallout 3?
Is that the one in Boston?
No, that's 4.
Oh, I maybe
3 is in DC, and there's a
that's the one in DC.
Yeah, the president. His name is John Henry Eden, and he turns out to be a robot. Spoiler. But you get these speeches from him. I swear to God, they're modeled after that speech.
They must have been. Back at the hospital, Oakes is coming apart. He's staggering around while the hospital staff tries to brief him on everything they need from him. And then he collapses from exhaustion and probably radiation sickness. While he's out, he dreams of his family and the attack and remembers a phrase from one of his colleagues that really fucking resonates with me. Stupidity has a habit of getting its way. And man, does that shit hit hard. When he wakes up, he's laying in the infirmary, which is now crowded to the point where the staff has to step over everyone.
His hair is sparse and terrible.
He's cracking up and mistakes Nurse Nancy for his wife. And McCoy is also there, and he is looking real bad. Most of his hair is gone, and he's going blind. And most of his body is a running sore.
There's also, this is the point in the movie where they start doing this thing where someone will be talking to someone, asking questions, and the other person they're talking to will just ignore them completely. Mm-hmm. And it will be a thing that happens continuously, like pretty much till the end of the movie. And it drove me crazy.
He just like walks past you and like nobody goes, "Dude, what? Hey, focus."
Pretty much.
Yeah. Outside the hospital, everyone is hard at work loading bodies into mass graves. The soundtrack is basically a steady buzz of flies. They're running out of body bags, and the lawn has turned into a tent city. A military truck is there handing out food to the survivors, and they cut them off when they run out for the camp.
And this feels like the most American part of the whole movie.
Because the crowd handles it as you might expect. They attack the soldiers and loot the truck, and the soldiers respond by firing into the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Out in the ruins, the local farmers gather up at the Commerce Board, who recommends that they get ready to replant. They have to dig up the top layer of soil to remove the poison dirt. It is a ridiculous proposal since each man has over 100 acres to clear by themselves. The message here is that they'll never be able to recover from this agriculturally. Nobody will ever be able to plant new crops. This food supply will dwindle quickly.
That's true. You plant potato plants. You plant a mute fruit. Some various melons. I do like what I like about this too is we kind of circle back to that beginning idea of like we just have to carry on. And I don't know, maybe that's the thing I'm responding to so frustratingly is this idea of, these are the kind of people that get you into these problems where they're just like, we have to strike first. And, tell you what, Sonny, in my day, we did this. And now they're just like, well, we have to band together and be hopeful. And it's like, man, fuck all of you. I'm going to the Northwest Territories. Me and the fucking Mad Trapper of whatever his name was.
Of Rat River.
Yeah, like there's this idea of like, if we just do what we're supposed to do, everything will be fine. It's like, yeah, that's how we get into these problems with these fucking dumbass, usually white men who are just like, we need to do what the great white father says we should do and go forth and rebuild the society. And it's like, God damn it, I can't live in this country anymore.
Yeah, what is it? The burden of civilization is on us. And
it's so exhausting. And I don't know. You responded to it in your way. I think I am responding to it in a way that is obviously a little bit different in that I have been feeling lately, probably because I've been listening to a lot of like sort of commentary on anti-wokeness and like just all of the shit that is kind of echoing all of this in my head. And it just reinforces my frustration and my anger. And so when I watch this, I'm just like, of course this is what would happen. Of course, because Americans are fucking useless and terrible. And I think maybe that's one of the things that I'm just sort of like, I hate this movie. I hate these fucking people. I think I hate this country. And I know that's a really strong reaction. And obviously I don't mean it, but like it is, I think that's the thing where I'm just like, this sucks. I hate that we allow people to behave this way. And we've been doing it over and over again for so long. And people throw it in our face and we're still just like, how dare you be anti-patriotic? And I don't know what to do with it anymore. And it's driving me insane.
It's the fact that this is even a possibility.
Yeah.
Is the sort of pain point.
And I think that's like
these weapons, these political conditions should not exist.
No, and these missiles are all still there. They're still sitting there under the earth.
Yeah. Jim returns to his farm that night to find some survivors camped out on his land, cooking a huge piece of some sort of animal. They look a fright.
Fucking Okies again, man.
Yeah. As Jim grabs his gun and goes to move them along, a large, shirtless dude sneaks off to the side and blasts Jim dead with his own shotgun.
Wow, you really just rushed us through that.
Well, there's not much to it. He shows up and he's like, hey, this is my land. You guys got to get the fuck out of here. The dude sort of
It's a real
off.
sneaky moment. You see what's coming. You know what's going to happen, but they sort of like build it up a little.
Yeah. And then, the survivors just passively stand by and watch. And then we cut to Eve and Jolene, who hear the blast from inside the house. We never see them again, and we can only assume the worst.
Well, they were eaten by this band of Okies, these marauding band of Okies.
Oaks is starting to look real bad at the hospital. His hair is falling out. He wants to know what happened to Nurse Nancy, who is now missing. She's dead from a fucking outbreak of meningitis.
And originally in the movie, you see her die in the original script, and they were like, nah, you can't do that. People will be upset. She's so likable. I was like, yeah, she's fucking America's mom. What the fuck are you doing?
I know. With not much time to live, Oaks leaves the hospital to return to the ruins of Kansas City. On his way out of town, he witnesses whatever is passing for authority executing two men.
Nice. I feel like that's the one part of the script that feels too post-apocalyptic nightmare. Not that it wouldn't happen. It just feels a little too Mad Maxy to me.
Okay. I mean, Threads does it too.
I know. And it's probably realistic, but it's just the idea. Like they're dealing in realistic terms. You're trying to deal in realistic terms, and to push it a little bit beyond the pale in that way is sort of like, I don't know. It feels a little too sci-fi to me.
Yeah.
Dystopian.
Chia tries to remove the bandages from Danny's eyes, which are just not healing. He more or less gives up, and Steve, realizing that it's a lost cause, gathers Danny up and goes out to find Denise so they can go and die at home.
And I just have to say, Steve Guttenberg's beard.
It's intense.
This is like it is left over from a Don Post costume.
The way that I interpreted it is it's just him sick.
It's fake.
It is a black. It looks like somebody just patted black makake on his face.
That is exactly what happened.
Pattern, yeah.
Like because maybe there's a little bit of like weird, like when you have you're building like a model set and it used to come with that fake moss. It's like a little bit of fake moss and then like a bunch of black makeup. He looks like an old hobo costume.
He's gonna cook a shoe.
Yep.
So yeah, most of his hair is gone and his face is riddled with sores and whatever he's still able to grow for facial hair. He wears an armband that I think identifies him as terminal. And then they go to the nearby gymnasium, which is now being used as an infirmary, and a look of horror comes over him. The camera sweeps and pulls back to reveal that the entire gym is full of people, like hundreds of them.
Yeah, it's a real Astrodome scenario.
Oh no. They took this scene from Gone with the Wind. When Scarlett...
Apparently a lot of critics took issue with that.
Okay.
Just
it's the scene where Scarlett goes to the Civil War hospital, and it's just this like pullback shot of her in her ridiculous dress, like wading through just like men dying.
And so it is an odd thing to nod to. I think because back then, believe it or not, everybody, back then Republicans were outraged that you would act like they were heroes in this, the South were heroes in the Civil War. Might be hard to believe now. So they were upset that they were like, this sort of like they were equating what was happening in this movie in this scene with the sort of the Confederates in Gone with the Wind. It's like,
which is wild because they're also bummed now that we're like removing Confederate memorials and shit.
Now you're starting to see why I'm angry. Why I'm so frustrated with this movie, maybe.
That we're lorded over by hypocrites who are also violent and want to end the world.
Yes. That's the problem I'm having with this movie.
Yeah. He finds Denise, who is also looking really, really bad and also sporting one of those terminal bands.
He does. And she says, at one point, she says something like, I look terrible. And he's like, no, you look great. And my note is, does she? Does she really?
Yeah. He realizes time's short.
She looks like the sister in Pet Sematary.
Lies his ass off to Denise that everything's going to be okay and that they're going home in a couple of days. Elsewhere, the pregnant lady is in labor in the middle of a crowded room. She pushes as everybody looks on in horror. Finally, a crying baby is delivered. A sad expression comes over her.
I think the baby, because he's trying to be hopeful. And maybe
I disagree. I think that the entire ending of this movie was meant to just be total despair. I don't think that there's any.
I think the last shot is supposed to be hopeful 100%. We're not there yet, but I think I think maybe there is the studio pushing one idea and Mayer pushing another idea. And maybe he is trying to go less hopeful and they're going, no, you have to be a little bit hopeful here. I think the baby is supposed to represent because Ian Oakes gives this monologue about like, you have to try, we have to be hopeful. And if it were me, I'd be like, you need to get the fuck out of my face, Jason Robards. Yeah. But like, I think there are these conflicting ideas, and I think maybe that's why it feels a little cheesy to me.
I see it as because her whole thing is she is dreading this birth because she's bringing a child into a world where that's just gonna fucking die.
That's why I like that character. I think it's super interesting to have this person that's just like, why have this baby at all? And he's like, well, for one thing, you can't not at this point. I mean, it's gonna happen whether you like it or not. It's like you can't not shit when you really have to. So it's sort of like that. But I like that I like that idea of like, what's the point? Why am I like? I'd be surprised if this baby does not die when it's born.
No, this baby's going to die in a couple of days. Like,
and so
there's nothing to care. There's no way for them to care for it.
But then Jason Robards gives this fucking speech about like how we have to be hopeful. We must carry on. And there is that thread. And I think, again, it might be that issue of like, he can't do proper satire in a TV movie. Like, it's just not possible under the constraints of this form. And so maybe that's why it doesn't come across to me that way. It comes across. And again, I'm being cynical. Like, there's no way. I'm in a place right now where it's very hard for me to perceive any of this objectively. And so maybe that's why I'm reading it that way. But it really comes across to me as these conflicting ideas of like, it's, on one hand, we have to be hopeful. The world must carry on. It's like, for fucking what, man?
Yeah. Oakes reaches the ruins of Kansas City. It's basically a flat plain at the center. Literally nothing is left.
It's a real Planet of the Apes scenario.
On the outskirts, he finds the remains of his home, a literal pile of rubble, but also finds the watch that he put on Helen's wrist earlier.
Fucking Chekhov's watch. I felt like at this point, they're really scrambling to wrap up all these storylines. Like, they're just like, oh God, why are there so many of them?
I know. Noise grabs his attention. Hoping it's his wife, he looks and finds some survivors huddled under a makeshift tent.
Just more Okies.
He angrily demands that they get out of his house. The survivors offer him a tasty nuclear onion to eat.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's an onion.
I was like, why is he giving him an orange? What is that?
Oh, and then he falls to his knees in despair and cries. The father of the survivors, presumably, cautiously makes his way over to him and does what he can to comfort him.
I think...
Fade to black, and then Huxley calls out to no one on the radio.
I think that's the ending. To me, I was just like, oh, it's the power of humanity that he goes to comfort him. It's like, you can't show me people lining up other people to murder them judiciously, and then show me that like it can't be both. And I think realistically it might be.
My personal read on this ending is with nothing, nowhere to go, nothing to do, and no hope. This is all they've really got in the moment.
I read it more as it's this man is going to comfort him, and it is the power of humanity and empathy that will carry us through. And again, I'm being very cynical
because the message of this movie is very much no one survives.
Because the reality is no one survives.
Yeah. And speaking of that, a title card that informs us that the movie that we just watched downplays the actual devastation of a nuclear war and that it'll actually be way, way worse than the movie depicts.
It's the most honest thing in the entire film.
Roll credits.
I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, we obviously have differing opinions, and I think it's mostly because we are emotionally coming at this from two entirely different places that both prevent us from being objective about it. Like, I fully recognize that as a movie, it's okay.
It sucks. It's not good.
It's okay. But for me, thematically, it stirs something that's still not, that's something that I probably will never be able to let go of for, like, as long as these weapons exist. And these people rule over us who just get stupider and crazier with each new version. Like, it seems to bring me back to that moment when in the 80s, it didn't feel like a moment, like a matter of if, but it was a matter of when. And I'm still there now because, like, we've got people who just seem to have forgotten that this is like what's going to happen is everybody's going to fucking die. Even the stupid goddamn president is going to fucking die, probably horribly and probably slowly. Even though I'm sure that he's down there thinking, yeah, I mean, we can launch these missiles. It'll be fine. It's fucking America.
Well, no, he's down there thinking this whole room is my toilet now. I
can poop wherever I want. But then again, no more Diet Coke, no more McDonald's.
True.
That's an absolute nightmare scenario.
No more fucking fish sandwiches, you goddamn monster. I think that, we are actually reacting to the same things. We're reacting to them in different ways. You're reacting to sort of the trauma of the initial exposure to all of this. And I'm reacting to the present state of things. And we are reacting to the same thing that it was allowed to get to this point in the first place. And the arrogance that it comes from, the naivete and arrogance, and I think just general stupidity that allows us to get to this point. And I am, maybe you're being more thoughtful than I am. Maybe I'm just being a little reactive, and I admit that fully. I think I'm just so tired of having the same discussions over and over again and having it thrown in people's faces and having the fucking evidence and facts laid out. And then still they're just like, yeah, but Jesus and George Washington. And I'm like, I don't know what else to do but nuke your whole fucking household. Like, maybe that's what it'll take, and we'll all have to die that way.
I have a rather fatalistic approach to this, where in like the last like year or so, I have felt that until there is a tangible and significant, consequence for the choices that like conservatives are making in the lives of the people who vote for them.
Right. It has to be materialistic. Otherwise,
people will completely lack perspective because everything is just vibes now.
Right. You can't argue with that.
I cannot argue with that.
There's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah. You cannot tell a person who thinks that a nuclear holocaust will be great because Jesus will be coming back.
Right, because it was foretold.
Yeah, like there is nothing, you cannot argue with that. You cannot argue with a person who thinks, well, we're America and we fucking rule, and so that's why we will survive. We'll hit them first, they won't be able to touch us. But it's like, you can't possibly say like, no, man, like they're going to like their early warning is so fucking fast. Like the moment somebody turns the key, they're going to turn theirs and we're all going to fucking die. But you just cannot argue these points with anybody. So yeah, it's extremely frustrating. I understand where you're coming from.
Let me hit you with this hot take. This movie ages terribly as a film. It is not good. It is extremely dated.
Sure. It is very, well, the thing is like this topic of nuclear war is so 80s.
Yep.
Because eventually, like the Soviet Union collapses, Afghanistan gets the best of them, and then Glasnost and Perestroika doesn't really work out the way that Gorbachev thought it would, and the whole thing fucking collapses. We no longer have an enemy, and capitalism wins the Cold War, and we put this shit behind us as fast as we fucking can, and so this feels super 80s.
But here's my second part. As a work of art, I think it is still very obviously, based on our reactions to this, remarkably relevant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll never let that go.
Does this movie work as a movie anymore? No. I think these concepts would be very foreign to most younger people. They would not get it. It's silly looking. It's cheesy. It's super hammy and melodramatic as a drama. As a sort of a conceptual piece, I think it's still very effective because we are still struggling with the concepts and the sort of ideologies that this movie is operating from. And so if you want to understand the 80s as a sort of era and the films that were produced in the 80s, particularly action films and horror films, and maybe sci-fi to a little bit, a certain extent, I think this is a key text to do that. I think it requires a lot of contextualization, which is tough because I think that's not a thing people don't like.
I feel like I've gone really fucking long. This is our longest episode ever.
And God damn it, I have rambled so much, and I apologize to everybody.
I have bogged this down with data and history in a way that I don't think anybody's still listening. So if you're still listening, thank you.
But I do think there is so much here that explains everything that comes after. It explains the fear and the anger and the frustration. It explains all the shit that we are expressing right now. All of that is still real because we lived through it the first time, but also because we're still doing the same dumb shit now.
Yeah. And I don't think it'll ever end, quite frankly.
No, it's the same argument over and over and over again. We just keep swapping out the players.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. The day after, you guys. Well, where are we off to next?
We're going to do the British version of The Day After. Bring Me the Axe, couple next week. Monday, I think. I don't know. I'm tired. I've been talking for 3 hours.
I think this is going to be an interesting one too, because the British approach to this is fuck all of y'all. You dragged us into this shit.
Mm-hmm. Fair assessment. It's much more brutal. It's a more compelling, interesting movie. That's what we're doing after that. But don't worry, because in 2 weeks, 99 Cent Rental will be back. And as promised, I came up with the dumbest shit I could think of.
the palletist cleanser of palate cleansers.
That's right. This house possessed. It is about a house and a security system that falls in love with a lady, and it is willing to kill for her.
I can't wait. I cannot wait, because this shit is weighing on me.
I think it might be who is one from Dark Shadows that's in Suspiria?
I don't know. That's more.
My brain is completely shot. I wish I could remember her name right now, and I can't. She was in Dark Shadows and Suspiria. Her husband shot her and her boyfriend a bunch of times in a car once.
Wow.
Yeah, that happened in real life, not in the movie. But she's in this house possessed.
Fantastic. All right. I'm looking forward to it. Listen, if you're still here,
God bless.
Sorry.
Thanks for.
We'll see you next week as we do it. We do it again. We dive straight into the nuclear war pool. I promise it won't be this long.
No.
And then we'll be back to just shake it off with this house possessed.
I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. In my heart I have but one desire, and that one is you.